Welcome into the PHNX Suns Draft Extravaganza. It's the first time since we've been a company that we actually get to talk about a first-round draft pick for the Phoenix Suns. I'm Espo, that's Flex, this is Gerald. Gentlemen, I'd love to just talk about draft, but apparently Stephen A. Smith decided to shit in the punch bowl, and now we got to talk about something else start this.
Yeah, it's been an annoying 24 hours.
It has. We'll take a step back before Stephen A. Smith. It was Woj last night on the heels of the Mikal Bridges trade that then dropped, some info about the Houston Rockets and the Phoenix Suns.
Now that the Rockets have the Suns' first-round picks, if there comes a time when Phoenix, doesn't go forward with this group, if this group has to disassemble at some point, Houston's a team now, whether it's Kevin Durant, but I think even more so a younger Devin Booker, who's I think timeline fits with this Houston team. The Rockets are in position now if they want to pursue players on that Suns team. But right now, Phoenix, they want to run this team back this season. They're determined to win with this group. But certainly for Houston now, it just gives them an arsenal in the future if something does change in Phoenix.
So Woj talking about the draft picks that Houston accumulated in their deal with the Nets, and the snowball started rolling a little bit faster this morning on First Take when Stephen A. Smith had this to say.
Pay no attention to what Phoenix is saying. They want out of Kevin Durant right now. That's number one.
Wait, say that one more time?
They want to trade
Durant.
Durant.
Pay no attention to what Phoenix is saying. They want out of Kevin Durant right now.
Wow.
That's number one.
Again, why do the Rockets do the deal, Molly?
That's why I asked you. I was like,
Number
wow.
two.
Okay, go ahead.
Number two, also, Houston doesn't want Kevin Durant. Ime Udoka may want him. But organizationally, they know that they are not there yet. So their plans are more long range. And they would prefer a Devin Booker, who they know it's a slim chance they'll get, but that would be their preference.
Now I can do something.
I'm not giving an opinion.
And I'd prefer a Ferrari instead of my Toyota Corolla, but we don't always get what we want, do we, Houston? And then our friend Brian Windhorst, who's been on the program, brought a little bit of his thoughts in, too.
Instead, they make a deal to give those next two picks back to the Nets to get Phoenix Suns picks. They didn't do this in January. They didn't do it next year at the lottery when they saw where the draft was. They did it now for Phoenix Suns stuff now. And that is what Woj and other people have talked about. It is because they are interested in tempting the Suns to try to trade them Kevin Durant now. They don't want to do this later. They want to put this on the table to see if the Suns will be tempted by it. Now, Matt Ishbia, the owner of the Suns, has been out there on the record saying, we are bringing this back. We want to see these three stars healthy. Durant, to my knowledge, has not asked for a trade to Houston or anywhere else. Booker is fully invested in the Suns. But this move is bait. It is bait to the Suns to reconsider. And one thing I want to point out, watch what the Rockets do tonight with the number 3 pick. This is one of the most important moments of the draft, and in many cases is where the draft kind of starts. If the Rockets take Donovan Clingan out of UConn, another center, which is an option for them, and now have a bunch of centers on their roster, that would potentially enable them to make Alperen Şengün, their very talented young Turkish center, available in that type of trade to dangle in front of the Suns. The Rockets are full go to improve dramatically now. Yes, they can offer this in the future, but now, and that's why they did this deal now.
You know, the only thing that I feel like we've learned in this is that Matt Ishbia in that end of the year press conference was right. There are a bunch of GMs that want guys on the Phoenix Suns roster. Let's just get into it. How asinine is all this? Because for 3 weeks, we've been telling you exactly what's going on. They're not moving on from any of the big three. They're standing pat. They're trying to build a roster around these guys. We saw even the owner come out adamantly on Twitter and share that today as well. At this point, why are we listening to any of this? What's the point in what Stephen A. Smith is saying? Because it really felt like he went 0 for 2 in one comment. It was pretty impressive.
I mean, yeah, but this is what they want. They want to generate hype before the draft, right before the draft. And also, like, it's very clear which side of the equation these reports are coming from. It was a Rockets and Nets trade that is what spawned all this random conversation and pulled the Suns into it. Like, of course, Houston wants to create some leverage and be like, well, you know, we want to do this. We want to trade for, like, of course they want Kevin Durant or Devin Booker. There's lots of teams that would. Just because there's smoke doesn't mean there's fire. If the smoke is coming from one side of the room, like we've been telling you guys on the show for weeks that the Suns aren't trading the big three, that Kevin Durant doesn't want to trade out of Phoenix, that he likes being in Phoenix and wants to win here. And we've got multiple people saying it now. Even these ESPN reports are like, well, if there comes a time when Phoenix isn't winning and needs to blow it up, or just the fact that he says pay no attention to what Phoenix is saying, which is a hell of a way to start a report. The fact that Wendy's saying this is bait, this, like, Matt Ishbia's been on the record about this, all of this stuff. If you have to qualify it, you're ignoring the most important part of the equation, which is the Suns have no interest in this. And in case you need a national reporter's word on it, Shams Charania on their draft show just a few minutes ago said there's a 0% chance that the Suns are trading Kevin Durant this summer, which is what we've been saying for weeks now.
And Wendy and Stephen A. Smith contradicted themselves at the same desk. Yeah. Stephen A. says it's not because they want Kevin Durant in Houston. And then Wendy's like, they want Kevin Durant now. They can't even get their story straight.
I had a headache. The minute I saw it. Yesterday it started to circulate around. You guys both made great points. We've been talking about this for weeks. We know where the Phoenix Suns stand. They're not trying to trade the big three. I think the most important thing that I got from this was a friendly reminder of how good Kevin Durant and Devin Booker are, and how valued they are, and why these reports are even happening is because people value the players that are on the Phoenix Suns, and it's all wishful thinking. It's cap season. That's what I call it, right? It's cap season. There's a lot of smoke. Go ahead, talk.
You're kinder than me. I call it bullshit season. Okay. Because most of it feels like that because you're getting information from multiple sides. Everybody has an agenda that they're trying to push in some way or another. What I want to know, why is the idea of accumulating the Suns picks supposed to be more enticing than the Nets pick they already had, a Nets team that's obviously tanking? If I'm trying to trade for somebody, wouldn't I want that as the bait?
Right. Like I get that there's some sort of logical, you get your picks back, you're made whole again. But like this team wants to compete. Their picks are not going to be that valuable. So I don't get that line of thinking.
It's definitely frustrating. It's crazy because, I mean, I've been hearing about how well the Nets have done in the last couple of years with all this draft capital accumulation. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, listen, man, I remember it wasn't too long ago that we were in that mode. It wasn't too long ago that we were hoping Josh Jackson is Kawhi Leonard and, Alex Len is the next great. Like, I'm confused sometimes as to where some of these people really want to be. Do you want to be contending for championships with 3 really good basketball players, 2 Hall of Famers? Or do you want to be accumulating assets like the Nets? I'd rather be where we are right now.
Well, that's the thing is, like, people keep talking about, like, okay, the Thunder, the blueprint, they have all these picks. The Nets, they're doing great work now getting all these picks. But, like, the Nets have been trashed for a decade, basically. Like, they capped out. They traded away picks that became Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, first of all. Then they cap out as like a 42-win team that makes the playoffs. Then they add KD and Kyrie and James Harden. You're like, okay, they're onto something. That implodes after like 17 games together
Yeah.
total because they
Yeah.
couldn't stay healthy. And now they have to tank after having 1 foot in, 1 foot out last season, trying to build around Mikal Bridges. And people are praising them because now they have a bunch of draft picks. Like, do you guys want actual good players, or do you want just a stockpile of draft picks that could be something? It's like
That's
the
right.
mystery box. Like, it could even be a boat. Why not just take the fucking boat? Like, what are we doing?
Okay, so the Atlanta Hawks are on the clock.
Yeah.
For those of you that are here for draft coverage, we will cover that. But I get accused a lot of copium, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I'm coping with things. I'm accusing everybody that sits here talking about get that stash of draft picks of hopium.
Yeah.
You want this idea of there's some potential prize I'm going to get, like you're saying, Gerald, that maybe could turn into something. You have a top 10 NBA player, an all-time great. I don't need the thing that might become something 4 years from now. I need the guy that can help me win a title potentially. So enjoy your hopium. You can accuse me of copium, but I'm watching this team play together.
And here's the thing, Espo. That thing that might become something in 4 years, if it reaches its max potential, is probably half of Kevin Durant.
Even
Like,
half of Kevin Durant now.
Right now. So, yeah, I just don't get it, man. It's frustrating. It's tough. Take a breather, baby. We got a long night.
I understand it's easier to buy into a rebuild and like, okay, you're going to get young talent, cheap salaries. You're going to be able to build a core together. It doesn't always work out. Like, that's not a guaranteed path to success. In a couple of years, if the Thunder haven't broken through and won, we're going to be talking about how expensive each young guy's contract extension is now, and how, well, maybe this player's unhappy and they're going to need to be traded, or Shea wants to go here. Like, we do this with every team, and there is no one path to winning a championship.
That's right.
Like, we've seen that so many times. The last 5 years, we've had 5 different NBA champions, none of which were built in the same fashion.
That's right.
So I understand the appeal. We saw it here in Phoenix of cultivating young talent and letting a core grow together, but it doesn't mean you're going to break through and win it. It's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And the fact that trust the process, that didn't pan out yet either.
Yeah,
so, you know what? The pick is in. Podium
Let
here.
him get up there. Let him get
You
up
want to let?
there. Yeah, let him get up there. This is his moment, yo. Let him get
Okay,
up there.
I mean, we're not going to cut to it, so I'm going to be the one announcing it anyways. But we'll get into how Kevin Durant feels with Matt Ishbia here in a second after we announce the pick and everything. To me, it's a whole lot of nothing. I think, you're right that they used it to kind of use the NFL playbook that they do, build up drama, suspense before a 2-night NBA draft and free agency specials that are coming on Sunday, right? That's what I think is really going on here. And obviously they were getting information from Houston,
right,
and leaning a little bit heavily into that. And now, I'm not saying they'll never move on from this group or from Kevin Durant. I think if you're flailing after the first half of the season, trade deadline might be where you start to look at that. And maybe that's when Houston comes into play. But right now, it's pretty obvious you're not blowing it up. You don't hire Mike Budenholzer to then go, hey, buddy, we brought you in, and now we're trading the guys that you thought you were going to coach, right? It's not happening.
And the super aggressive owner who wants to win, who has already come in willing to pay millions in luxury tax payments, is not going to suddenly be like, well, let's trade our best or second best player and take a step backward, or let's blow it up altogether and trade the face of our franchise and Kevin freaking Durant. Like, it's not realistic.
And we're 40 games into it, by the way.
Right.
As Marco says, it's simple. Just draft the next Michael Jordan.
Right. That's the thing. People love draft picks, but they don't realize what are the odds that those picks are going to be players that are as good as Devin Booker or Kevin Durant.
Yeah, the number one pick the Suns have had was DeAndre Ayton. Just remember that. So the commissioner is at the podium, and we're going to tell you here in a second that it is Zachary Risache, I believe is how you... Risache is the pick. The big man out of France, the 6'9" forward, is the pick here Flex, what did you like about this kid? What were kind of some of his strengths?
Here's the funny thing, and this is no disrespect to Reece Sachet. He's 8th on my board. Okay. He's a young player. He can do a lot. I just don't know how high his ceiling is. I just really don't. When I watched his tape, he looked like a guy that can do a lot on the basketball court. He can shoot, he can defend, he can do a multitude of things. Really, really talented, really athletic. But again, I just didn't see that one quality in his game that tells me he can be the best in the league at this. And so that's why I had him lower on my board, but I think he's a terrific young player.
Well, we've got your board up here. Alex Sarr was your number one guy. Gerald, do you feel that the Hawks may have missed here? Because Flex obviously does. He is 7 guys better than Reece Sachet.
Yeah, I don't think Reece Sachet is going to be bad, but the number 1 pick, this feels strange. I would have taken Sarr, especially when you have like Clint Capella, who you're probably going to be able to trade or want to trade. I get that they still have Okongwu, so there's that to consider, but I thought Sarr would have been my most sensible number 1 pick if I was drafting from that spot.
Do you think there's a little Wemby factor here? The intrigue of the French big man that you saw how well that worked.
I think there's something to that. I mean, listen, if we go back to our draft with DeAndre Ayton, I think there's people that believe that we didn't take Luka Doncic because of the failure that was Dragan Bender. Right? I think there was a little bit of that. So now you're looking at the reverse. You're looking at a guy like Wemby, who is all world, and you get this talented kid that can do a lot, that's 19, that's got a great body, that can grow into something terrific, and you're intrigued by it. You're definitely intrigued by it.
Oh, and now the Washington Wizards are on the clock with the number 2 pick. I want to, before we dive head first, I do want to take a step back on the KD stuff. There was this clip that we have from, I believe, the Wall Street Journal that KD is talking about his relationship with Matt Ishbia in year 1 with the Phoenix Suns.
Really involved me in that type of process. I mean, we obviously what goes on with the team, the day-to-day operations with the team we talk about, and Matt is such a great guy. He doesn't mind a suggestion here and there. But it was his idea with the Arizona Family Network to get the games free to everybody in the state of Arizona. I thought that was an incredible idea to expand our fan base a little bit more in Arizona. But the day-to-day, man, he's calling me every day about what players do I like, or what do you think about, he's watching film, he's watching basketball. So to have an owner that is really that invested in the players from every aspect, everybody that works for the Suns, he's invested in. He's built a new facility for the women's, for the Mercury downtown, $100 million facility for them. Got a new G League team this year. So he really wants to make a winner in Phoenix, and the owners that come in there and just hit the ground running and start spending immediately, those are the ones that usually have success. It might not start early on, but in the long term, it's a sustainable model for you to continue to just be involved every day. And he's one of those guys that's in it.
It certainly feels like Kevin Durant seems to like Matt Ishbia's approach.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's not going to go up there and badmouth his owner, but like at the same time,
some guys might.
The fact that he was able to acknowledge all the different things that Matt has done, he's been very much on the page of like, I understand fans want it now, but it does take time to build things, and that's why he said near the end, like, it doesn't happen overnight.
That's right.
But usually the ones that are willing to spend and put in the time, the energy, the resources into certain things are the ones that are able to find success.
That's right. I mean, listen, there's this idea. Kevin came to Phoenix, and if they flame out, it's on Kevin. It's not on Kevin, man. This is a basketball team. Okay, they play 40 games together. I thought Kevin did. He came in. We had the season he had. It was disappointing as a whole, as a team. But to try to put everything on Kevin, I think has always been unfair. And I like that they're trying to see what they can get out of this, G. They're trying to play the long game. And you don't win NBA championships. Go ask Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown how long it took. Go ask them if they thought it was a good idea to break that up. I was here in Boston year after year after year after every flame out, right? Do we split these guys up? So I like the fact that they're looking at it. They're saying, let's progress.
Well, the Mavs
yeah.
were the same last year.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there some? I know you wanted to address something from the chat.
So Tommy in the chat asked when the deadline is for Eric Gordon to make his decision on his player option. That's June 29th, so that's Saturday. But as we've said, we're not expecting Eric Gordon to opt in.
No, so obviously they're going to be looking for additional shooting, either in the draft or free agency because of that. Backup big and obviously wing. So these are the areas that tonight we're looking at, as well as this draft goes on, to try to figure out who the Suns may target there. While we wait for the Wizards pick, we did talk yesterday, and I want the people to hear this off the top, that we were hearing the Suns very well may trade back. So don't get too married to 22 as we go along tonight.
Yeah, it's sounding like it's most likely that they trade back. We talked about this on the show recently. They like Ryan Dunn out of Virginia. They like Tyler Kolek out of Marquette. They like Yves Massey out of Baylor. But they have several prospects that they like just as much, if not more, that should be available a couple picks later. So they might try to trade back and get more assets.
The pick is in. The commissioner's at the podium. Let's find out who the Washington Wizards are going to take.
Well,
looks like it is Alex Sarr, the center from France, the big man, 7 foot from Perth. They list him as a forward. We list him as a forward. ESPN has him as a center. A big man that can play multiple positions. Flex, what were the strengths that you liked about this guy?
Number one guy on my board, man. 7'1", 224. This guy's a freak. This guy is a freak athlete. He can do a lot of things defensively and offensively. If he gets a shot, if this kid works on his game and gets a shot, oh, man, he's going to be a star in this league for a long time. He reminds me of Evan Mobley, but I think he's got a better body. If you look at him, he looks like he's got the frame to put another, 10, 15 on there, and you're dealing with a monster, man. So I thought this was by far the number one guy in this draft. If you're looking for potential, if you're looking for a guy that's going to help you compete with all these bigs, all these great bigs that are in the league right now, this is your guy, man, Alex Sarr. I really like this pick.
Kid that's been playing professionally since he was 14 as well, too.
Yeah, if you know my draft history, you know that I like guys that have been playing professionally overseas for a while against better competition.
That's right.
But no, like the Nick Claxton, Jaren Jackson Jr., those comparisons have come up with him. He's definitely a shot blocker, but also a guy who can be mobile as a defender, which is a quality that you really need as a modern big man. So I think the Wizards got a good one here. I wasn't as high on their Denny Avdia trade earlier in the evening, but they did grab an additional pick at 14. They've got another one at 26. They're stockpiling picks. They can probably flip Malcolm Brogdon. So the rebuild is definitely on in Washington.
Yeah, there's rumors Kuzma also could be had right now as well. It'd be interesting to see what they do with those picks, if they try to package to move up maybe even again, or use that to accumulate more, because they're obviously knee deep in their rebuild, if not more than knee deep in their rebuild there. Is this a guy in Sarr that you're going to have to wait a while to kind of see what he can be, or do we think he has an immediate impact with Washington? Because he's obviously going to get the minutes. They're lacking in talent there. So
yeah,
how do you think?
I think this guy could be a double-double guy day one. I really do. And again, you're going to Washington. They're rebuilding. I understand. I mean, I saw reports that he preferred Washington as the number one destination, right? And I understand that, because you're going to a team where you're the man. You walk in day one, you're pretty much the man. You're going to have an opportunity to be the face of that franchise. And with Atlanta, with some of the pieces they got and what they may do over the summer, that's a little bit unclear. But no, this kid, I mean, when you look at this tape, he's a grown man. He knows how to play basketball. He can do some things off the dribble. There's a little bit of everything in this kid's game. And so, yeah, I think he's a face of a franchise. Double-double day one, I believe. I think he can come out there and get you 10 and 10 every night.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nate, Daniel, Chris, Cole, Champs, Beal, Beef Supreme, Nate, Kyle. Glad to have you along with us. Gerald, didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to welcome our active chat. Get in there. Hit that like button. Support us Well, we're here for probably what will amount to 4 hours. And then another couple tomorrow, depending on what the
crazy.
Suns
This
do.
is still going to be 4 hours, even though it's only the first round.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
I like this kid. Very well spoken too.
Sar?
Yeah, I like Sar a lot. Great personality, well spoken, works hard. Again, you can see improvement in his game as the season progressed. I really like this kid, man. I look at him a little bit, and I'm talking about. I'm not talking about right now.
Sure.
But I compare him to a younger. When I looked at Rudy Gobert, younger. Lot of similarities in the body.
he's French too.
Well, yeah. Shout out to the croissants, man. I love me some croissants. But no, listen. No, like if you looked at Rudy's well put together now. But when he was younger, he was a little slimmer. But this kid is Rudy Gobert with a plethora of skill sets.
Yeah.
So I like this pick. I like this kid. I think he's gonna do well.
The pick is in for the Houston Rockets right now.
This is interesting.
This is where the draft does get interesting for. And it sounds like I'm gonna trump.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Let's
the
do
commissioner. It sounds like it's gonna be Reed Shepherd.
Yeah.
Is gonna be the pick at number 3, the guard from Kentucky. There was some speculation if the Rockets had taken a center here, you could think maybe a trade was coming. Well, they take Reed Shepherd, the guard, here as well. 6'2" out of Kentucky.
Man, listen, this is the best shooter in the draft. He's the best shooter in the draft. If you look, he's 6'2", but he crashes the glass. He gets rebounds. He's a really good athlete. Man, I love Reed. I mean, his wingspan and body is what everybody's going to complain about. This guy's a bucket, bro. Right. This guy is a bucket, and I'm going to keep telling people, I'm going to say this all night. Calipari's not in Kentucky anymore. This is the last year, right? He's gone. Keep sleeping on these Kentucky guards, man. Don't do it. These guys are great pros. They know what they guard you over there. This kid's a bucket. I love him. Could shoot the heck out the ball. And again, I don't know how you feel, G, but I think he's the best shooter in the draft.
Best shooter, worst dressed. I'm just looking at his suit. He looks like he borrowed Dad's suit. It looks like what I looked like when I went to a middle school dance.
It does look. I actually had a suit like that, homecoming.
I had the same haircut too back then. So
I don't know. I mean, look, man, he's got the puppy face, but he's also got that dog in him. So
he is a dog.
Like I like this kid a lot as well.
Yeah.
I think he could. I mean, 52% from 3 on about 4.5 attempts per game last year. That's pretty damn good. I think this is a good pick. Out of the sales of that whole line of thinking, like you were saying, if the Rockets take a center, like watch out, Şengün could be available. They're making their move for Kevin Durant. Okay, maybe not so much now.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I like Şengün a lot. Looking at Houston's roster again, you would be taking a bunch of younger, underdeveloped, still developing young guys. I don't know that Devin Booker, even if you replenish the picks that you lost with Kevin Durant, if he's going to be looking at that like, okay, yeah, fine, let's add some 21 and 22 and 23-year-olds. That'll get us right back on track. I don't see
agree.
that.
So
Agree.
And I love Şengün too, but
you said Reed's got that dog in him. Shepherd.
Shepherd, he's a sheepdog.
There you go.
That's a good one, man.
What do you think in terms of what Houston's looking at, right? It seems like they want everything we heard to begin this is to try to find a more established star.
Yeah.
Do you think Reed's the kind of guy that they look to potentially flip in some kind of deal, or do you feel he's a cornerstone piece that they can build around?
I think both can be true. I think he can be a cornerstone piece, but he can develop into a guy that can help you go get a star later. Again, man, you know, if you're going to be 6'2", if you're a 6'2" guard coming into the NBA, you have to have something you do that's elite.
Right.
This kid's jump shot is elite, man. And so I worry a little bit about the backcourt with Van Vliet, very small, right? I worry a little bit about that. But look at this. A 42-inch vertical max, man. I mean, max vertical. This guy can play. He's intriguing. We got this draft there's some small guards in this draft. You know, we're going to talk about it throughout the night. There's some smaller guys in this draft, but some of their skill sets are very unique.
Right. He's a gritty defender too. He's got very good hands on that front. So you point to the shooting as an elite skill, but he does play bigger than you know, his size and his measurements on the other end of the floor, which is something you need to be able to do if you're an undersized pick this high. Espo, to answer your question, I'm honestly not sure. I think Houston is kind of in this position where you take the best player available, and it depends on, you know, whatever star you target, you have a plethora of options in terms of youngsters and picks that you can offer them.
It's a trade buffet.
Right, exactly. Pick your poison, pretty much.
So he's going to have some big shoes to fill, to live up to, because there's been, in the last 30 years, outside of him, 2 Kentucky guards to go in the top 5.
Okay.
John Wall, De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's some high expectations there.
Yeah, former Rocket star John Wall.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Former salary dump John Wall.
Yeah, I can't get past Reese suit, man.
The green.
Nah, I'm trying. I had one just like that, man. Come on, Reed.
The hat.
Give me the big Blue Nation suit or something, man. Come on, guys.
His mom's got a better suit than he does
Yeah,
on.
probably.
Like,
Got the
shout out to
pinstripe.
mom.
Got the pinstripe.
Yeah, I like that.
And really good rebounder too. Like really good rebounder in college. Again, 6'2", but helped on the glass. Intriguing guy, man.
We've got the Spurs on the clock. But
Okay, this one's interesting.
I want to start talking a little bit about our hopes for the Suns,
Sure.
right? Because this is a Suns draft show. We'll focus on all these teams, but when you're looking at this, guys, if they stay, let's start with if they stay at 22. We know that very well may not happen. But if you're at 22, are you looking for a wing? Are you looking for a big? Are you looking for a point guard?
I think you're looking for the best available player at that point, or
Yeah.
a trade down situation. Like, obviously we talked about that, but if they stay at 22, I think you're looking at whoever is the best player that you feel can come in, hopefully contribute from day one,
Yeah.
but just the player you like the most. Because I think we've talked about this too. Like, the Suns have needs up and down their roster.
Yeah.
They could use a reliable backup point guard. They could use more plus size defensive minded wings, and they could use a center, someone that could come in, hopefully stay on the court, be a mobile, switchable defender who blocks shots, rebounds, is a rim runner, provides some athleticism, that type of thing. And I think there are a lot of candidates in each one of those categories, some heavier than others.
Yeah.
But I think if you're on the clock at 22 and you don't like your trade down options, I think you just take the best player regardless of position.
I'm with you. This is more of a center draft. You got some opportunity with bigs in this draft. If I had to rank the order, my preference would be I want a wing first. If I had to rank it as wing, backup center, backup point guard. And the only reason why I'd have backup center above backup point guard is because I believe that this is a center draft, and so you take the better talent. So to G's point, that's not going to sway me. If I'm at 22, I'm taking the best player available, regardless of position. And this is why this gets interesting, because you start to see the board shake out. Right now, it's kind of been chalk for me. This is what we probably expected to happen.
Right.
But there's going to be a pick that's going to go a different way. And then, you might have a guy that slips that's supposed to go lottery. He's hanging around 18, 19, 20. That's where you start to say, okay, exactly what G said. If that guy slips, you throw all the damn position stuff out the window and you go get the best player.
Right. We got the pick is in here for the Spurs as the commissioner comes to the podium here, and it looks like it makes me irrationally happy. By the way, can I talk when that plays? Okay, good to know. Stephen Castle is the pick here, the guard out of UConn for the Spurs. And we actually have our own analyst from the All-NBA show, Tim Legler, to tell us a little bit about Stephen Castle.
Stephen Castle, point guard. You mentioned him as a potential option here. Some people have him as the number one player on their big board. Some draft analysts talk about him as number one guy. You're high on him as well. So why are you high on him?
Just his size, length, versatility. He's really smart. He's competitive. He doesn't shoot it very well. That's got to be an area of improvement. And who knows? Like it's easy to say, he's got to work on his shooting, become a better shooter. That doesn't happen for everybody. It doesn't work that way, because there is an innate part of shooting a basketball that you find out over a few years guys don't have. And so that's that. That's a wrap on. Doesn't mean they can't be good players, but that extra component, that's what he's got to add. I think he shot 27% from the 3 last year. So that's a short line. So he's got to improve that, but he's versatile, very smart, very competitive, and very well coached. And I think that's something you and I talked a little bit about off the air. Does that matter? How much more advanced you are based on the system you ran, the attention to detail that you were just given on both ends of the floor, which Danny Hurley certainly did that for both of the guys we just mentioned. That does matter. So you know, and it shows. He's got a maturity about his game that you love. And you're looking at this guy putting a ball in his hip and leading the team one day, and it's very intriguing. The shooting component is something that could scare teams off because of what you just mentioned. Man, teams are taking 35, 43s a night. And can he extend out consistently? Won't happen overnight, but 3 years from now, can he turn that into 38% from the NBA 3-point line when he shot 27 from the college line in 1 year? Small sample size. We'll see.
Yeah, we will see. I want to pull on that thread, though, this idea of, is it really valuable to get guys who come from an elite system? And when I say an elite system at the college level, there are some coaches and some programs out there that really teach you the game. I mean, layers, because they get great recruits, which first of all, you need good talent to be able to get that deep, that deep of the layer. But also you have a lot of talent. You have a great coach. And okay, we're reading the game now. We're not just running simple stuff. You need to learn how to read. UConn is like maybe number 1 at this, right? They run complex enough actions that their guys need to be smart enough to think. And I look at that. I mean, Virginia for a long time has had guys. Villanova, obviously, for a long time has had guys that come with traits. I look at that and I go, it's so valuable as the NBA gets smarter and more spread out, rotations defensively get more difficult. I actually bump guys up when they come from programs where they had to think and they had to learn the game. And so UConn, there's 3 guys in this UConn draft. I'm higher than average on all 3 of them for that very reason.
Listen, it does matter because you can't really put a value on some of the things that he was being told on a daily basis in practice and film sessions on the details of the game that really matter and with total accountability to everything you were doing. And you could just tell that by the stuff UConn was running. Their read and react stuff and multiple actions taking place on both sides of the floor at the same time. Like that's just something that a lot of guys are comfortable doing. And you have to be someone that can pick that up. And it just makes you more advanced day one when you get into some of the complexities of what you're going to deal with at the NBA level. So it does matter. It's going to help these guys, certainly in the short term. And then you're really at the mercy of where they end up and the level of coaching that they're going to get now. But coming in, it's an advantage for those guys from the beginning. It just in terms of whatever system they're going to see if they have been taught to play basketball the right way.
Thanks to our friends at the All NBA podcast, Tim Legler, Adam Morez. They're breaking it down. The Detroit Pistons are on the clock, but I want to take a look at the draft so far so we can update you guys. Atlanta Hawks, Zachary Urichashe goes number 1. Alex Starr, number 2 to the Wizards. Reed Shepherd, that dog in him, at number 3 to the Rockets, and Stephon Castle at number 4 to the Spurs. Let's take a look at your big board, Flex. Your number 1 guy's gone, but you still got 2 through 4. Are you surprised the way this has played out so far?
No, I mean, listen, I thought Castle, I didn't see the Spurs taking Castle, but I tell you what, man, that kid's terrific. Castle's terrific. If this draft was different and didn't have a lot of the unknowns or the international players, this kid could be one of the top players in the draft. I think he's a bigger version of Drew Holiday. I really do. 6'6", 6'9", wingspan, 210, defense, comes from a winning program, knows how to play. Holy crap, man. The Spurs are building something, man. They're building something. This kid's terrific.
It's Pop's retirement gift. They're trying to get him one more opportunity here.
Yeah, I like the fit, especially just because it felt like Stephon Castle really wanted to go to a team that didn't have a point guard.
Yeah.
He had made that very clear. He sees himself as a point guard at the next level. He's got a high feel as a playmaker. I am interested to see how it translates at an NBA level as like that lead playmaker. The shooting is the one thing that concerns me, the 27% from 3. But I I feel like he's just one of those players that is too well-rounded to fail, I guess, if that makes sense, even though he doesn't have like a one trademark skill that I would look at as like, okay, that's where he's going to immediately make an impact. I feel like it's more of an all-around package for him.
There's two guys in this draft defensively that wowed me. One guy is a guy that we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
We talked about a lot for the Phoenix Suns. This kid right here, though, I was having a hard time deciding who I thought was the best player in the draft.
Yeah.
The pick is
defensive player. Sorry.
The pick is in for the Detroit Pistons. And the pick is Ron Holland.
Ooh, Ron
Holland.
Upside pick.
Yeah, that's an upside.
Really, Detroit going with upside. They're like, Monty's not here, so we're going to go upside now. Forward out of the G League Ignite, which this was a failure of an experiment, the G League Ignite this year, the forward 6'7". What did we like and what did we not like about this forward?
I mean, he was one of the guys that we had talked about when we were going through trade up targets for the Suns, and he has a ton of potential.
Yeah.
Like, he is a defensive menace in transition. He is terrific. He's got really great measurables, incredible athleticism, not afraid to dunk on somebody. It's just a matter of, getting that jump shot down and improving, being more of a fundamentally sound player for me.
Yeah, defense. He can score. He can shoot. He can actually create offense off the dribble. He can pass the ball a little bit. This is a high upside guy. This is a guy that can do some intriguing things with his body, and just one of these freak guys. One of these guys, when you look at the tape, you're like, damn, that guy's a freak athlete, and he can do some things. Like you said, I saw some bodies. I saw him catch some bodies. I'm like, wow, this kid's terrific.
Is this kind of a boomer bust pick, though? Do you think, obviously disappointing year in the G League for him, but do you feel he has that potential to actually help this Detroit team? Because they got a lot of holes, they got a lot of problems. Is this it just trying to bank on him living up to that potential?
I mean, eventually, yeah, I think he'll get there. I think he's an upside pick for a reason. I think it's going to take some time, and I think Detroit, of all teams, has more time in terms of giving that type of developmental look for him. But I mean, look, he at age 18, his first year playing professional-esque basketball in the G League, put up 20.6 points, 6.6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2.5 steals, and nearly a block a game. That's pretty good production.
Damn good.
And defensively, he could be very scary in terms of being able to guard multiple positions. So I think it'll take some time for him for sure, but I think he has one of the higher ceilings of a lot of the prospects we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah, his shooting is my biggest concern, right? He didn't shoot the ball great, but he's one of these guys that you're going to hear me say this a lot. He's a bucket. Like, he's a bucket. Although he doesn't have a great shooting efficiency, he finds a way to score. And so if you can just get the efficiency down and help with the percentages, yeah, this guy could be something.
Well, let's talk about this, because I think this will come up when we get to the Suns pick as well. Is shooting one of those things that if you come into the league not being a great shooter that you can improve on? Because you're not going to improve on raw talent, right? Either you have raw talent or you don't. Either you have potential or you don't. But can shooting improve? Because I think we're going to be talking about this potentially with the Suns pick.
Yeah, listen, I'm a shooter. I coach shooting. I've been around it my whole life, man. You can improve shooting. You can't improve some of the things that Ron Holland does, though, on a defensive end. You can't improve the motor. Those are things that you're born with. I can't go in the gym and teach a guy to, play at the speed and tempo that this guy plays with, or right here in my chest, the heart. You can't teach that. You can teach shooting, which is why I'm always going to lean towards a guy like this. I'm going to say, let me get my hands on this guy. His raw talent is incredible. I can fix these little things around the edges and take him to the next step. And that's what this is. This is a high upside pick.
Well, it's nice that they're letting him get a second year in the G League too, playing for the Pistons.
Damn. We did get word from Adrian Wojnarowski. This is something to keep an eye on at this number 6 pick. The Blazers are at number 7, but another team working to move up and secure Donovan Clingan, sources tell ESPN, is Portland. Which is interesting to me because they have DeAndre Ayton, they have Duop Reith, who is actually a very underrated player. So if they're getting Klingon, what does that mean for DA's future, or to a lesser extent, Reese's future? It's interesting.
Could you imagine if DA got traded in consecutive off seasons?
Oh boy.
I want to say no, but
well, gotta love. I mean, I was getting a lot of earlier. Well, that was the move that broke this team, and it's like,
yeah.
If Portland goes, I'm abandoning that in year one. That'll be interesting.
Well, we'll see if that comes to fruition or not with this next 6 overall pick. There's only a couple of minutes left with Charlotte on the clock here, but just something to keep an eye on, which would be interesting. This is where the draft is going to start to, I think, kind of splinter a little bit.
Yeah. There's a guy I'm looking at on this board for Portland.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to get into that right now, but Klingon's an intriguing pick because of what you talked about. But there is one guy that if he ends up in Portland, I think could be scary.
Okay.
I don't know if y'all want me to disclose that or
Go
talk
ahead.
about this
I
guy.
mean,
But I love Cody. I love Cody Williams. I think he'd fit really nice with that Portland team.
Yeah.
And so I when I looked at the board and looked how things shook out, I'm like, man, if Portland has a chance to take Cody, I'd be intrigued. But you can't argue Klingon, man. That guy's terrific.
We do have a trade alert.
Right.
Our first of the night.
Do we have a graphic for that?
Wait, hold on.
We have a from
All
Jake
right.
Fisher. We have
Let's cue it. Cue. Be so happy.
I know they're very.
All right.
nostalgic.
What's the trade?
Yeah, so Jake Fisher says that Charlotte is trading back from number 6 to number 9 with Memphis. So
Interesting.
something to keep an eye on.
Interesting.
Right.
So
Okay.
So not official, but working.
Well,
but
none of these are official.
We also know how this works, right? Inevitably, whoever trades for this pick is going to be whatever player's taken
Wearing a
is going to
Charlotte
be
hat.
wearing the Charlotte hat,
Yeah.
which is the dumbest thing in all of sports. That this kid, his big moment, he winds up having to wear the hat of a team he will never play.
Oh,
for.
we have an anti-trade alert now.
Oh.
Jake Fisher coming back out and saying the Hornets are now staying at number 6.
Can we run? Can we run
No,
that
we
video
We
backwards?
do have a pick. The pick is in for number 6 now.
All right, let's cue that. Eric, we're trying to break Eric behind the Mac.
It's not breaking me. It's breaking the computer, right?
What do you got for us? Who's the pick?
Charlotte is selecting Tidjane Saloon at
Oh,
number 6.
I'm so glad that I let you say that name.
I don't think I said it right.
I still would have butchered it worse. We got another French forward off the board, 6'9" forward here. This seems like a bit of a surprise, Flex.
Yeah, it does. I mean, 6, I think it's a little high for this kid, but this kid has a motor. Holy crap, this guy just goes. Super athlete. Again, what I'm saying about this kid is he's got a fucking motor. And so I didn't think he was going to go 6. He's a little raw. He's got a lot of work to do on other things. He may be a little bit of a project. But, yeah, kick and play, man. 6'9". This one shocks me a little bit. What you think, G?
In terms of him being taken this high?
6, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting this high.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the fit is interesting because, like, I do think the Hornets need some help on the wing and in the forward spot. So I get it from that perspective, but I feel like this is too high up in the draft to be drafting for positional need. You know, he's a good off-ball defender. He's got positional versatility, like you mentioned, at 6'9". But yeah, I'm a little surprised. I was not expecting him to go this high, and this kind of just speaks to our point earlier about different teams are going to have drastically different draft boards for a draft like this, where there's not like consensus hierarchy to it.
Brent says it's Tizon Chalon. So
Tijan Shalom.
All right,
I like that much better.
I don't know French, so we'll go with it.
I like that much better.
Again, I like this kid. Again, I think his motor's terrific. His size is terrific. His upside's high. He's a super athlete. But I want to say I might have had him 19 on my board.
Yeah.
So to go 6, again, I'm no draft expert. I'm just evaluating the tape, and I think this kid has too many things that he has to improve on to go that high.
I think I finally figured out the draft hats. 3 of the first 6 players from France.
Yeah.
They are the color of a croissant. So,
There we go.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, so I'm guessing the NBA knew.
Okay.
The French connection in this draft. We've got 3 of the first 6 players from France. So we've got Portland on the clock.
This is interesting.
At number 7 here. And as we were talking about, a lot at stake when it comes to what Portland's future looks like. And for our former friend, DeAndre Ayton, it will be interesting to see what they go with here.
Man, if they go with Klingon, that's
oh man, that'd be crazy.
That's an interesting pick because I think to close the season, DA was a lot better than he started the year. But we did get word of some reports out of Portland that like people were kind of not enthused about his approach, which is something I'm sure Suns people can relate to here.
Oh, really? You don't say.
Yeah, and I don't want to like crap on the guy because I love DA. He's a great human being. I hope that he is able to, figure things out and become a productive player no matter what team he's with. But if they take Klingon, that's going to be a little bit telling that after one season of DA, they're kind of drafting this center to come in and be a piece of their future.
Agreed.
So we'll get back to Portland. I want to jump a little bit back into our Suns conversation, though. We were talking about positions and where we'd look. Well, obviously, wing, point guard, center is where we're looking. Specific names. Is there anybody, again, thought experiment, we're at 22 right now. We know good chance they might move back, but at 22, is there a name that stands out to you on the board that you would jump at the chance to get?
You want to go?
You go ahead first.
De Silva.
Yeah.
If De Silva's there at 22, I might leave and run down and try to get somebody.
I don't recommend that with your back.
Yeah, I think I can get down to the office and get this ticket to Matt. And
there you go.
So no, De Silva's a guy I absolutely love, and I'm patiently waiting to see how this shakes out. I highly doubt he'll get anywhere near 22.
Yeah,
but I didn't think Saloon would be going 6. Salon, I don't know. Am I saying that wrong?
It's fine.
Saloon, I think.
Yeah, I didn't think he'd be 6. So it just takes one team to take one guy in the wrong spot, and the whole draft shuffles. And so, yeah, for me, it's him.
The problem is we need because this guy was probably going to go somewhere in the lottery, even if
he was
6 was high.
Yeah.
So we need to start seeing names, and maybe we will as we get into the teens. Names that we were like, whoa, we had him in the 20s or we had him in the 30s. We need more of those guys coming up.
Correct.
We don't need to go to the graphic, but flex off the top of your head. Where do you have De Silva ranked on your board?
On my draft board, is that 14? 12. De Silva's 12 over on my board.
Nice.
I did some shuffling today. That's why I had the second guess.
So that'd be some great value at 22 as well.
Incredible value.
All right.
Yeah, incredible value.
The pick is in.
I believe it's the gentleman we thought it might be.
It very much is. The Blazers are going to take Donovan Klingon out of UConn.
Wow.
Number 7.
Wow.
All right then.
That's something.
DA might not have to worry about those icy roads anymore in Portland.
Wow.
The 7-2 center out of UConn, the second guy out of UConn to go so far in this top half of the draft. What do we like about the big from Connecticut?
He can do everything. 7'3", do everything, well coached. Studies the Joker. Saw that the other day. This is a great pick. This guy's a really good basketball player. You know, there's not too many teams that can run out a 7'3" center that has his type of skill set. And so a guy that could do everything, national champion, well coached. I love this pick. This is a franchise that's been looking for that big guy forever, right? They've been looking for him. They thought they got him in DA, but now you take this kid, and I'm intrigued for what the next move is, because I am certain that their intention is not to play Klingon and DA together.
Well, and that's the thing, is it's not even just DA and Klingon. They've got Reith. They've also got Robert Williams III.
Yes.
Like, something's got to give there.
Yeah, well, we've got our friends at All NBA, Tim Legler, Adam Mares, with more on Klingon.
Donovan Klingon, the giant out of UConn, 7'2", 7'7" wingspan. I've seen him compared to Rudy Gobert, compared to Walker Kessler. He's actually bigger and longer than Walker Kessler. Not only a little bit taller, like a half-inch taller, but also a wider wingspan. Walker Kessler looks enormous on the court, so this guy being even bigger is wild. But he did have a foot injury, which always is scary for 7-footers. Played through it, ended up recovering from it, but something to note. What is it you like about this guy?
Here's what's, I think, interesting about Clingan. One, he has got tremendous motor, very competitive. He's not soft and weak. He's competitive. Right. He challenges guys. Right? That's important because some big guys that are a little bit more slender than him come into the league. They get thrown around by grown men a little bit in the beginning, man, and they're a little bit tentative and they get in foul trouble easily. He's a guy that he will meet you. He will meet you in your spot and he will meet you at the rim, and he doesn't have a problem with it. He finishes really well. He's got good hands on drop-offs and catches and lobs, so he's a guy that can fill that role, but I think he has a lot of potential to extend his range out. And you know what's interesting to me, Adam, is I'm hearing like that it's possible San Antonio wants him at 4. Now, you think about, and you go, well, wait a second, do you want to play a guy like that with Wembanyama? And you think, well, isn't that kind of like the model almost that Minnesota just followed? They were the number 1 defensive team in the league. You add a Rudy Gobert to the mix, back there lurking, hovering, rim protecting, and then you got this versatile other big guy in Karl-Anthony Towns that you have in Wembanyama, who obviously has a higher ceiling than that. But it's interesting to me to think that now, is that just being thrown out there? Because, there's all sort of gamesmanship that goes on in this situation. But I have been reading that San Antonio is interested in potentially pairing him alongside of Victor Wembanyama.
We're breaking the game, Legs. This is what we're doing. The Celtics are shooting 53s a game. The Spurs are going to have 2 guys 7'2" or taller. Like we're figured out how to break the game so it no longer works. I didn't even think of that, to be honest with you, but you're right. There is that would be a wild thing to see, and I think they would hold every team to about 30 points a game total if you had those 2 guys.
Yeah. I mean, good luck getting anything off in the paint. I mean, could you imagine? Trying to score against that? If like your game is getting downhill to the rim and that's what you're looking at, because every game I watched Victor Wembanyama last year, he made a play defensively that he's the only person on the planet capable of making that play. And then you add a guy like with these kind of defensive instincts and size next to him. So we'll see. I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, he goes before that. San Antonio is interesting because they got the 4 and the 8. They're really 2 of the top 8 picks in the draft. Now there'll be a lot of years that those 2 picks would be like super, highly coveted. It's probably not as much in this draft, but I'm interested to see what they're going to do with it. I think there's going to be some movement, certainly leading up to the draft and on draft night. And even after picks are made, I think you're going to see a decent amount of movement with these picks and pieces. And San Antonio is a big player in that because they've got 2 of the top 8 picks and they're looking at their roster. And I think one thing they desperately need is a point guard. I thought they need a veteran point guard though, and use this draft to address some other young pieces to play alongside Victor and grow with him and address needs. But you expedite the process of improvement if you add a veteran point guard to the mix. And so I don't know what their thinking is because, another guy we're going to talk about here in a second, Stephon Castle.
All right. So our chat, I think, inadvertently gave Donovan Clingan a nickname. Somebody was trying to say it reminds him of Marc Gasol, but it came out as Mark Gasoline, and the chat is running with it. Mark Gasoline, enjoy being a top.
That goes crazy.
That might stick if he goes. Yeah, that might stick.
Kind of like Sauce Castillo. It's Mark Gasoline.
Mark Gasoline playing next to the Tesla engine in DeAndre Ayton.
Oh my God!
There you go.
Oh man, gonna have to pick one or the other.
Gasoline and Tesla, they don't mix.
Ultra combustible.
That's crazy.
My gosh.
I mean, I like this kid. Like 2.5 blocks a game.
Oh no, he's a heck of a ball player, man.
Yeah, I think he'll be good. I am very intrigued because they got the 4 centers now. So does that lead to more imminent trade movement
something's
tonight?
happening, yeah.
Or are we going back to DeAndre Ayton wants to play power forward?
I was thinking of that.
Oh my God.
I was thinking
God.
I was thinking of that. I just, man, Paul, this is gonna get interesting. I got anxiety right now with this 8th pick, by the way.
Do you?
Yeah, San Antonio, man. I mean,
because they're building something with Wemby, so whoever they're taking, we need them to be a bust. Because In about 3 years, they're going to run the league.
We need 4 and this pick. Everybody
Who they taking,
needs to be a
Shane?
boss.
Oh man,
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan going to the Spurs at.
Didn't they announce him as Mike Jordan on his draft day? I think.
I don't remember. All I remember from that draft, what was that? Oh, it was 40 years ago.
84
tonight. Yeah,
Shit.
Tonight, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
All I remember is the former commissioner David Stern's mustache.
It was.
That's all I remember.
Something.
I want to
from the
say he
draft
said
coverage.
North Carolina Mike Jordan.
Mike Jordan.
And yeah.
So we've got a few minutes.
No word yet.
Minute
Oh,
yet
this is
on
interesting.
Who are we
Spurs.
most afraid of the Spurs taking at 8? I think we're in agreement.
Cody or Devin Carter? Oh,
Yeah. No. Yeah, I was going to say Devin Carter.
Devin Carter is.
I don't know if it makes as much sense
Well,
now that they took Castle. But
With Devin Carter, that means they might be trading Vassell, and Vassell could get you a hell of a player back. If you're going super young.
But I feel like Vassell's still good. I feel like they would.
Oh, he's incredible. I just don't know if that 3-guard thing would work.
Yeah, that's a valid point.
Oh man, I'm actually I have anxiety, man, because
You've been hurt too many times.
this Spurs team is building something.
I just any guys
Nothing yet.
with Greg Popovich.
Oh, we got the pick is in.
Guys with Greg Popovich, they always scare me. So our friends, the pick is in. Oh my God! I want to play Mario.
Who is it?
It's Super Mario Brothers.
You're
Who's the
feel
pick?
better, Flex.
Okay, who is
Sham says San Antonio is selecting Rob Dillingham at number 8.
Oh,
wait, he could be on the move to Minnesota. Sources say.
Oh, yeah. There's no way they're taking Rob Castle.
Rob Dillingham, point guard from Kentucky, 6'1".
For what is the question?
Well, but that.
Because Minnesota had picks at, 27 and 37?
Yeah. You're not
So-
trading it for that, so there's got to be a
So
player
what are they
involved.
giving up?
It's got to be a play. I tell you, Rob Dillingham, no man, 6 on my board. Tyrese Maxey comp, he's a little smaller, but I don't mess with Kentucky guards, guys. I'm telling y'all, this kid gonna be a ball player.
But let's say he goes to Minnesota. How much does that scare you?
Like, scarier, man. He got more anxiety. Anthony Edwards and Rob Dillingham, man. Shit.
Can we do something, Suns?
What's that?
I'm now getting scared.
It's okay.
I'm
We agreed
scared.
coming in, trading down is the right way to go in this draft. We agreed on
Man, I'm
this.
intrigued. I need the news on this deal. San Antonio, what did they do? And how did Minnesota get robbed?
We need details on what Minnesota gave up to move up that far.
This, it's probably gonna be a haul, I'd imagine.
I mean, to move up to 6, man. I mean, that's a big jump from 27.
Is future picks enough when you look at that team? Because I'm looking at it, they're going to be in the same range most of the time, I'd imagine.
Did they dump a Sal? Is this somebody?
I'm confused because a lot of their picks are going back to Utah from the Rudy Gobert
That's right.
trade still. So it's not like they have a ton of draft capital because they owe a 25 first rounder, a 26 first rounder, a 27 first rounder, 29 first rounder.
Yeah,
it's
so
not like they have
it
picks
ain't
to
draft
trade,
capital
so it's
problem.
probably going to have to be a player into their cap space.
Was it? Yeah, into their cash space. That's what I was gonna say.
Oh yeah. So see, we just got confirmation from Woj, but nothing in
Okay.
terms of what they're trading.
I'd like to take a second here and look at our super chats because I know people have been chiming in there, and I want to get to it. Joshua says, "We appreciate y'all." They're in a hotel in Omaha watching Go Suns. I hope you're in Omaha for a good reason. I'm not sure there's many good reasons. Maybe the college baseball World Series you were there for. Our friend Saint Shitbag says, Flex, U of A is guard you. So
Come on, man.
Hunter says, not draft, but any chance Suns go after James Wiseman after it was announced that he's likely going to be released.
Yeah, I don't know.
You gotta see how tonight.
I don't know. I'm too busy. I'm
Right.
too busy trying to figure out where the hell Rob Dillingham's actually gonna play. It looks like it's Minnesota.
It is Minnesota, but we don't know what they traded to San Antonio to get the 8th pick.
Listen, this Espo. I mean, this guy can blow your mind when you watch his film, man. 6th man of the year in the SEC, Kentucky. Devin Booker was 6th man of the year too. He's not Devin Booker, but I'm saying, man, they just know how to make him, man, at Kentucky. So
James Johnson thinks we're blowing his mind. He says, Flex, G, Espo, holding it down, draft night. Let's
go.
get it done, DUNN.
I like that.
Go Suns. I love it there. So Flex,
Yeah.
I want to take a look at your big board here for a second.
Yeah.
And we got it. We're going to get it up here so everybody can look at it. Pause. What has surprised you so far, and does any of this impact what you think may be available as we get closer to 22?
Well, I mean, I don't have too many surprise. I mean, listen, my board is my board. I didn't go by the draft selections. I'm Devin Carter and Cody are coming off the board pretty quick. I think those are the guys to look at next. Dawn Connett. Dawn was fourth on my board. He's still on the board, so I think he's an incredible scorer. This guy can shoot from the mid range. He can hit the three ball. He can do some really good things. I liked his game more than most, and I think he's him still being on the board is a little shocking to me.
All right, I want to cue it again because I like it so much. Can we do the trade graphic again? We'll give him a second. Here we go.
Shit. All right. So Wojnarowski tweets, the Timberwolves are trading a 2031 unprotected first and a protected 2030 pick swap to the Spurs for Dillingham.
That's it?
Apparently so. So that's interesting. Also, we do have the pick in at number 9 for Memphis.
Oh, man.
But it's going to be a minute.
Who we got, Gerald?
Memphis is planning to take Zach Edey at number 9.
Whoa!
This draft is on something.
Hey, this is actually what the Suns need, though. This is
chaos.
This is what we need. I mean, if you're a Suns fan and you're watching this board shake out, things are getting intriguing already. Because Zach Edey.
This early?
This is earlier than I thought, but I did see a lot of. I saw him climbing draft boards as we got closer to the process, because there have been questions about his defense, his mobility, the ability to keep up at the NBA level. But I do think he posted some of the fastest agility times at the NBA draft combine for a guy his size / weight. So I think he's a little bit more mobile than people realize. This is high for me, though. This was higher than I was expecting for him.
Do you guys think it fits? He fits in Memphis, too?
Yeah, they need a center.
They need a big.
They need a big.
Because
they don't have any bigs anymore.
I respect Edey, 2-time National Player of the Year, terrific player, 7'5". You're not going to, whatever he is.
7'4".
7'4". There aren't too many teams that can throw that type of curveball at you with that type of, that type of body. But I had Zach Edey late first round grade.
Late first round. Okay.
Late first round. I had him on my board at about 28.
Okay.
So, I mean, again, this seems really high for Zach Edey.
So right now, you're sitting here, talent is starting to seem to kind of fall back, right, in a way. Do you think that starts to maybe change the feel for the Suns, where we felt trading back makes sense? Could you wind up with a guy at 22 that you just did not think was there and you have to take? Because it's starting to feel like there might be that guy there, depending on how their board looks.
It could be, but truthfully, I thought Zach Edey was going to be off the board before the Suns were on the clock. So like I said, I'm still waiting for players that I get what you're saying in terms of it continues to happen. But as of right now, I'm looking at it, and all of these guys were going to be gone.
Anyway,
that's fair.
But I do think, yes, to your point, if there is a guy, Devin Carter, fingers crossed, that falls all the way to 22, and you suddenly get a potential steal of the draft, maybe you stay there and just take them. But it's going to depend.
Did you think Edey was a lottery pick?
Personally, I didn't have him that high on if I were to create my own big board, but I thought he would go in the lottery. Yes, I think most of the mock drafts had been saying somebody in the lottery or someone in the teens is going to take him.
Listen, the one thing I will say about him is that he shot the heck out the ball in the combine. And the biggest worry was, can he come and shoot the three ball? I think he proved a lot of people wrong. I like Edey, man. I mean, you don't win National Player of the Year you don't win 2 National Player of the Years. There's only 5-6 dudes ever done that, and they're all Hall of Famers. So, I mean, this is terrific numbers. He can play. But yeah, man, 9, that's very high for me.
Does it surprise you? Okay. Minnesota makes a big move, right? They trade 2031, which is a pick that the Suns have available to trade, and a pick swap. Are you disappointed that the Suns didn't go in a direction to chase a guy like
Well, they don't. I don't think they have those assets. I mean, all they can
you don't
give
think
is 31.
22 and 31 would have been just as intriguing?
I mean, yeah, because I think the
I guess
Suns,
so.
the 2031 Suns pick, I think would have more value in other teams' eyes just because of what we saw over the last 24 hours. Everybody, the vultures are already circling in terms of what's going to happen if Kevin Durant wants out, which he doesn't. But I do think people view the Suns' future picks, because they're so scarce, because this team is all in right now, as more valuable. So I see that. But again, we talked about this the other day, and for the weeks leading up to the draft, there aren't a ton of guys I feel like are worth sacrificing that last draft asset that you have that you can trade to move up and grab.
Agreed.
Like maybe if the Suns felt differently, but we had it on good authority from a source that the Suns didn't view anyone this early in the draft as like worth trading up that far for.
I agree.
So,
I agree.
Looks like the Jazz on the clock, and I
have the
believe
pick is in.
We have
pick
that
is
pick?
in for the Jazz here.
All right, what we talking about?
All right, who is it, Gerald?
Cody Williams at number 10 to the Jazz.
Great pick.
Cole, I love that you're trying to get us to say it was Bronny James at 10, but I'm not going to the chat to know who is actually selected. We'll use the actual sources. Okay, so Cody Williams, what do you make of this pick, and what does he do for you for the Jazz? Obviously, 6'7" guard out of Colorado.
Oh, man. Wingspan, athlete. I think a better player than his brother at this point in college. Okay? So you're talking about a player that's got high potential, exactly 10 on my board, and that's where he went. I love this pick. I love this pick. Good for Danny Ainge. This kid could be a star. I everything about this kid tape screams a potential star who, again, I love J-Dub and OKC, and I don't want to get too bold or too brash here, but when I look at where Cody is, I think Cody is a more accomplished college player than J-Dub, and he's the baby brother. So, yeah, man, great pick for Minnesota. I mean, for Utah, sorry.
Yeah, he's a two-way wing with a lot of potential. Obviously, the Jalen Williams relationship and comparisons are going to be there, but he's a guy that took nearly half his shots at the rim and made 73% of them last year, which is insane. He's a great finisher. He needs to develop his game a little bit more, obviously 19 years old, but he has a ton of upside as a two-way wing in this league that's going to be able to do a little bit of everything if he can reach that ceiling. So it makes sense for the Jazz to target a player like that in my book.
I got him. He reminds me of Jaden McDaniels with potential to have a way bigger offensive package. And so that's scary as hell.
Yeah.
This kid can hoop, man. Love this pick for the Jazz. Scary as hell for what I'm seeing with these young teams in the Western Conference with some of this good talent.
All right, let's take a look at the draft so far. We'll give you a recap. Zach, I'm going to forget names now. How to pronounce? Risa Shea went one. The big man out of France to the Hawks. Alex Sarr at 2. You had Reed Shepherd at 3 to the Rockets. Stefan Castle at 4 to the Spurs. Ron Holland to the G League team known as the Detroit Pistons. I'm not going to attempt to say the first name of the guy that went to Charlotte, but Sean is, I believe, the last name. The other big man. I'm not going to embarrass myself trying to pronounce some of these French names. Donovan Clingan, the center, goes to the Portland Trail Blazers, and then Rob Dillingham went from the Spurs to Minnesota in a trade for a 2031 pick and a 2030 pick swap. Zach Edey, probably one of the biggest surprises so far, goes number 9. Cody Williams, number 10 to the Jazz.
And we do have the pick in for number 11 as well.
They're moving too fast. Chicago Bulls at 11, my favorite
they're
city.
taking our guy.
Let's announce it, Gerald.
They are taking a guy who I think a lot of people were expecting to go earlier. Matas Buzelis is going number 11. I think that's pretty good value. For
I love Buzelis. 3rd on my board. Really good player. Buzelis is terrific, man. I mean, he's got to get his 3-point shot up a little better. His defensive wingspan is something you got to talk about, but he's got super high potential, can do some really good things. Third on my board. I'm a little shocked here.
Yeah.
I'm a little shocked here. There was a guy that I thought Chicago was going to be really interested in, and that was our guy.
We're just not going to speak his name.
We're not going to speak his name. We're going to let it chill. But I'm actually very happy that they took Buzelis, and this is great value. This is great value.
We're going to let Flex head over to his best available board. When Gerald, you and I can keep talking about this here. When you look at this from the Bulls' perspective, we know that they're one of the teams that may be undergoing a facelift this summer. How do you think he fits in to what they're looking at and what it could mean for the Bulls, to put you on the hot seat here?
Yeah, no, I mean, good luck finding anyone who can speak to what the fuck the Bulls are thinking these days.
Hey, we don't want a draft pick. Just give us Giddey. Yeah.
But I like it for them in terms of, like, they're getting younger. I really didn't like the Josh Giddey trade, but it did undeniably make them younger. I think that's where they're headed now. Buzelis, obviously, just under 20 years old. I think Fabio in the chat said it best. Matas Bullzelis now, so that's fun for them.
You have to just pronounce it that way now.
He's also from Chicago as well.
Oh yeah, that's
so
true.
He's going to his hometown team.
I forgot about that. That is a pretty cool angle.
Is it good or is it a lot of pressure? I always wonder that.
I mean, if it's like the top 1, 2, 3 pick, then maybe. DeAndre Ayton.
I think that's a good point. I think the higher up you are, the more pressure it is. But I do think it'd be more pressure to go to a new city where you don't know as many people, where people don't embrace you from day one like that. I think it might be easier to be in your hometown team that sort of way. But
yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'd want to do it. I know, there's just a lot of pressure and a lot of people that.
You're worried about people hitting you up for stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we all know guys we grew up with that if we turned into millionaires, they'd be hanging around all the time. Guys you probably don't want to hang around all the time.
To be fair, if someone I knew became a millionaire, I'd probably be like, hey, man, we haven't had dinner in a while. You want to get some steak 44? Or
well, for no the free meal?
No free ads.
I mean, for the free meal, but you're not going, hey, can I get $500K?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's
I just want to pay off the mortgage.
That's fair.
Yeah, all right.
But no, I like this kid a lot. Like 2.1 blocks per game. I am surprised he fell this far. I think there were a lot of mock drafts that had him in the 5 to 8 or 9 range, so this is not too many picks after that, but I think this is good value for Chicago to pick him up at this point.
All right, I want to throw it over to Flex with his best available. We're 10 picks from the Suns. Flex, I want to know, who are you looking at that you think is still on this board that's intriguing to you?
A lot of talent on this board, man. The top guy on the board, Nikola Topic. Now, this is a guy who had a partial tear in his ACL. He's still on the board. I think he could have been the best player in this draft.
Sorry, Flex. Apparently, we're having audio problems. We'll get to you. We'll talk about your best available once we get the audio figured out. Eli says, I hear Steak 44 has good quesadillas. Good to know.
Do they?
I'll take a $40 quesadilla.
Do they do double corn there too? Or?
Oh, I'm telling you, I'm going to get double corn in my margarita this weekend over at Illegal Pete's. So I think we fixed the audio issues. Flex, once again, we're about 10 picks from the Suns. What are you thinking about on your best available board?
Man, there's a lot of talent on this board. Listen, Nikola Topic, I think could have been the top player in this draft taken if he didn't have a partial tear in his ACL. He's still there. I'm very intrigued with who's going to take that gamble. We just saw Buzelis come off the board. Don't Connect. People are going to be surprised. He was 4th on my board. I'm really high on Connect. I think he's a great 3-level scorer. That's terrific. A guy that Gerald doesn't want me to mention. Number 4 on my board. One of my favorite, I'm just going to point, one of my favorite players on this board. I'm going to say his name. I'm not going. It's cool. Devin Carter, man, terrific basketball player.
And it's just
we
been
like
Devin. He's
Devin.
going to OKC with the next. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, you scared me, man. Yo, I tend to like people with the name Devin too. I think they're pretty good basketball players, so I love it. I think the silver still at 5 is terrific. A guy that I'm a little intrigued with right now is Jacoby Walter. He's still on the board. He's 8th on my board. So there's a lot of talent. We're sitting at a part in the draft where we got 15 on the board here, and there's not 15 picks between now and the Phoenix Suns. So if you like any of these guys on the board, there's a good chance that one of these guys could be a Phoenix Sun tonight.
All right. Thank you, Flex. We'll let you get back to the chair here, and we'll talk about it.
Great work on the big board.
It was great. If only you could see what is actually going on just off camera. If you're diehard, it's going to be in the Discord in a second.
Behind the scenes
The fact that Flex didn't break a hip to get you this is pretty impressive. By the way, yes, we know it echoed. We won't have my mic on. Nobody needs to hear me. We just need to have Flex up there with his best available. I joked about it, but do you think he who shall not be named might be a pick that OKC considers at number 12 with them on the clock?
Man,
I'd be so mad if that happened.
I would be furious because this is just a team that's got so much damn young talent, and if they had a guy like this, it's scary. He is literally, pound for pound, probably my favorite player in this draft, man. I mean, defensively, a demon, can guard 94 feet, can do so much, G. I know you're a big fan.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll take him just because they just traded for Caruso. They've also got Cason Wallace at that spot, and then they've got, obviously Shea. So they're stocked at the guard position, so that's the hope. But even if they don't take him, like Dalton Connect's still on the board.
Yeah.
That would be a great pick considering most people had him going top 10, top 8, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So someone good is probably going to the Thunder, which is not great because they were already the top team in the West last year. They just added Alex Caruso to a top 5 defense.
Okay.
And now they're probably going to add someone who's pretty solid in the draft.
You see what you just said? Now, it makes sense. I don't know if Devin Carter fits with that roster.
Right.
But could you imagine Devin Carter, Lou Dort, Alex Caruso?
No.
I mean, man, when I tell you Devin Carter is terrific, you just saw a team win an NBA championship, and they had a guy named Derek White. This guy is like Tyrese Maxey offensively with Derek White's defense.
Jeez.
It's just crazy. So hopefully that doesn't happen, man. Fingers crossed. I'm holding out hope.
The chat's going wild for you right now, Flex. Hello says, is Flex prospect scouting better than his betting? We sure hope so.
I hope so.
And then Jeff in the chat says, Flex, New Jersey wants you to come home. Too bad he's Phoenix's now. So
shout out Jersey. Love y'all, but this home now.
Yeah, well, there's no the Nets moved to Brooklyn, so there's no New Jersey team.
That's a fact.
You got to be a place where there's an NBA team.
That's a fact.
It's required.
That's a fact.
So we've got OKC on the clock with Sacramento and Portland coming up on the board. We got a new.
Well, it's not an official trade alert.
Okay, so let's give the rumor. Rumor alert.
Yeah, we'll give the rumor.
Go ahead, G.
Jason Anderson of the Sacramento Bee said he's being told the Sacramento Kings are still engaged in trade talks involving the number 13 pick. The two names he's hearing right now, Wizards small forward Kyle Kuzma and Brooklyn Nets small forward Cam Johnson.
What?
Oh, Cam.
Oh, and we also have the pick in at number 12.
Oh shit.
The pick
the way
is
you looked at me.
No,
the way G looked at me.
Oh, you jinxed it.
Wait.
No? Did he jinx it?
He didn't.
Okay.
Oh,
you son of a.
But you're still going to be mad because the Thunder are selecting Nikola Topic at number 12.
Oh, man.
But, okay, you had him 2 on your board.
I had him 1.
You
talking about Topic.
Yeah. So, injury is the question here with this kid, right? Out of Serbia.
Yes.
So, this is the kind of pick that OKC could make because they're like, okay, we got a lot of talent. We can let this kid heal, right?
Yes. I'm sorry. He was 2 on my board.
Yeah.
He's number 1 on the best available. This kid is like Goran Dragic all over again. He's 6'6". He can do a heck of a lot on the basketball court. Now, he has a partial tear in his ACL. He hasn't even gotten surgery, and there's doubt if he's even going to need surgery. So this is one of those things where I've been feeling this whole time. I'm like, somebody's going to get this kid. And I don't think the injury is as bad as was previously reported. Man, OKC just got potentially the best player in this draft if he was fully healthy, and he didn't have an ACL issue. They just got. Oh man, this is a tough one to swallow here, G.
Yeah, the the feel for the game, the ball handling, the creativity, like he would have gone a lot higher if not for the injury concerns. And this is something that we've seen in recent years where guys fall a few picks because of those injury concerns and then wind up being pretty good. Michael Porter Jr. is one that comes to mind in recent years. So that's tough.
Man, that is tough.
I never want to root against a kid, but if he never pans out for the Thunder, that would be good for the rest of the West because he's going to be. Yeah, that's a good fit too.
And think about the trade they just made. They just traded Giddey. They get Alex Caruso, and you probably get a better version of Giddey in this kid. Like G said, his awareness and feel for the game can't be taught. And I love the international players. I love the guys that have been around the pro game a long time. This is a fucking home run for Sam Presti.
All of the chat. Topic Thunder?
Oh, shit.
That's great.
That is an amazing.
That is really good.
All right. Can we... we've seen Minnesota make a move.
Yes.
There's the rumor that Sacramento's about to make a move. Are you antsy at all that you want to see the Suns do something? Because I know some fans are going to get that way here very quickly.
I'm not because I kind of like the way this board is starting to shake out. And in about 5 picks, we'll know more. But I got a feeling that a guy that we weren't expecting to be available is going to be available. I don't know why. I'm just feeling this board right now. And I'm comfortable at 22. I think they're going to get a good player. And I don't think they should. I don't think there's a reason to trade up right now.
I think we're getting closer to the range where we might see a name go earlier than we thought we were going to see. And that's the hope if you're a team like Phoenix. Again, though, I want to emphasize this. Don't be disappointed if they trade down and add another pick because that is the way to accumulate additional assets when you don't have a ton. And this is a draft where you might be able to get the guy that you really want a couple picks later. That's just good asset management.
Yeah.
Look, I know we've talked Utah 29-32. I still look at the Knicks. And I look at that and I'm like, is there any way you can get in that range, whether it's 24 and 25, 24, 25, and that 38 that I believe they have in that second round? I still look at that. And if there's any way in the world to get there, that would be where I want. Utah, okay. I could be all right with that. But if I can trade back a couple picks and acquire some more picks, that's where I really like.
Can I get some clarity on the Minnesota trade? They still have 27?
I believe so. We haven't seen anything that indicates they gave up this year's picks. So
Interesting.
Something to keep an eye on.
What?
27 and 37 they have picks at,
So
see, that's interesting too, because if you become a trade partner with Minnesota and you take 27 and what? And
37.
No, the problem is you're making Minnesota better, now they're getting 22 and
am not making. Look, if I do it with the Jazz, they're in the West, sure, but they are not within shouting distance. I am not giving Minnesota a damn thing, right?
No, you're right.
Not a damn thing. They could call me and they could offer a lot at 22. Ago.
No, I agree.
Ain't happening.
I agree, and that's my point though. Because of them moving up to 6, does it kind of cloud your thought process now a little bit and saying, you know what? Nah, I don't want to do business with you now.
Oh, I wouldn't want to do it with them in the first place. Moving up to 20, letting them move up to 22. Like I really think you're looking at that Jazz, something with the Knicks in that kind of range. I don't see it with the Minnesota, just because you are chasing them. So,
I'm telling you, I think the Zach Edey pick shook things up a little bit.
You think so?
I really do. I mean, again, at the very least, I thought he was somewhere in the 20s. So him moving up all the way to 9, was it?
9, yeah.
Yeah, him going all the way up to 9. I mean, sometimes it's just one pick to shake the whole damn board and everyone's perspective. And so everyone's sliding down. I'm starting to feel like that Zach Edey pick might have helped us.
Sacramento is on the board, so if they're going to make a trade, we'll likely hear about it soon.
Fuck.
Oh, Our guy.
The pick is in.
Is it? So Sacramento didn't trade, is what we're hearing?
Oh, yeah.
And based on that, it was Devin Carter that just went number 13 to the Sacramento Kings.
Indeed, Devin Carter that just went 13th to the Sacramento Kings. This does, however, make Davion Mitchell and Keon Ellis potentially available because they have a lot of defensive playmakers in that backcourt now. I really like Devin Carter, and I do like that pick for the Kings. Something to keep an eye on with some of their benched guards now, though.
I love the pick. Me and you agree.
What do you guys love about this kid?
Dude, just a dog, man. Just a dog. I mean, listen, he attacks drop coverage like a maniac. He can shoot the three. He's athletic. This guy averaged 9 boards.
It was ridiculous.
9. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, this guy is one of those guys that you just look at and you're like, holy smoke, he affects the entire basketball game. There is very little. When I was watching tape of this kid, I was up at night with my son. Like, what does he do bad? Like, there's very little this guy does bad on the basketball court. I'm sorry.
Dress.
Okay. All right. But I don't. Gee,
that cost us Kawhi Leonard once to sweat.
Yeah, it did. Gee, answer this question.
Yeah.
This pick confuses me. I don't know how I don't know if Sacramento is the right place for him.
I mean, I think if you're Sacramento, you take the best potential player at that spot, and I think he makes sense, and I do think he makes Davion Mitchell trade expendable now.
Okay.
I don't know what Mitchell's really going to get you value-wise, but I mean, we're in agreement. Like, this is one of our favorite prospects in the draft. He's 6'2", but a 6'9" wingspan.
Yes.
He had a block and a steal rate of 3% or above, and we went over this stat when we were previewing some of these players. In the shot clock era from 1985-86 onward, there have only been 88 instances in men's college basketball where a guard averaged at least 1.8 steals and 1 block per game. Carter has 2 of those 88 instances.
Wow.
And among that group are recently known defensive stalwarts Josh Okogie, Matisse Thybulle, and DeAnthony Melton. So this is the caliber of defensive playmaker that you're looking at with Devin Carter. I like his game a lot. I felt like he would have been a great point of attack addition, but to me, he was the only prospect that maybe would have been worth trading up for if you're the Suns.
I agree. Listen, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, let's reset the draft here for a second. I'm not going to read through everybody. We'll start at Zach Edey there at 9 to the Grizzlies. Cody Williams to the Jazz at 10. Matas Bazelis at number 11 to the Bulls. Nikola Topic Thunder there at 12, and at 13, Devin Carter. And then flex your big board. Dalton Connect, really the guy in your top 10 or the only guy in your top 10 left on the board. How surprised are you that he's still sitting there?
I'm actually very surprised because this guy's ready to play right now. He's one of these few guys on the board that I think comes in, and here's the crazy thing, Gerald, is that he's such a good talent, and now that he's slipping, he's going to end up on a better team. And so, man, I'm starting to get worried now. If the right team ends up with Connect, wow, like that could be scary. I will tell you this. Let's go back to Devin Carter for a second. I love Castle. He went 4. I watched Devin go head-to-head with Castle twice against UConn this year. And when I tell you, Danny Hurley was losing his fucking mind trying to figure out how to deal with Devin Carter. And so, man, heck of a pick. I hate that he's going to a Kings team that we're going to have to run into. I'm just hoping that there's something else to this because, like you said, some of the pieces they already have there, they just gave Monk that big extension. So
a lot of guards.
Yeah, a lot of guards.
A lot of guards. Yeah, man, I like this kid a lot. I really do. He was no ceilings compared him to an NBA Troy Polamalu, which is
holy smokes.
Come on,
I love that.
That just hurts.
Okay, come on.
That hurts.
That's lazy. It's just the hair. Or does he have a
it's the hair and the defensive instincts, playmaking. I see it.
Athleticism. His dad played in the NBA 15 years, assistant coach in the league. He's been around pros his whole life. You can see that too. You can see he added a little arc on his shot this year. He was a transfer, I believe, South Carolina, right? He added some arc on his shot and gives himself a nice little soft touch from the 3-point line. So just a really good basketball player, man.
So the Wizards sitting here at 14, is that what it looks like? A possible trade. So Portland could have taken another center here, but they decided maybe to move the pick. Is that the rumor?
Is that what they did?
Well, Portland had moved the pick
Oh,
in
this
that
was early.
trade
This
with
was
the
early.
Wizards.
This
yeah.
was-
So
this
this pick
was
is
early.
going to the Wizards, and the pick is in at number 14.
Oh man,
The deal was an Advia, right?
yeah.
Yes, the Avdia trade is the one.
You said the pick is in.
Yeah, the pick is in at number 14.
The computer's freaking out. So
Yeah, we're good.
There we go.
We're going to talk nice to the computer and see what happens. There we go.
All right. We wanted that dramatic pause. Now, who is the pick here for the Wizards?
It's Carlton Bub Carrington at
Oh.
number 14. Great mid-range guy.
I love him. You know I love him.
Mhm.
You know I love Bub. I mean, he's just a bucket. He's a guy that got like 100 pull-up buckets at Pitt. Like this dude's terrific. He's young. He's got some work to do, but he's a guy that we just talked about. A guy like Malik Monk. This is that type of guy. He can go out there. He's a mid-range killer. He just got a little. He's got shiftiness to his game, G. That can't be taught, and I'm a big fan of that. I didn't have him. Where did I have Bud on my? I didn't have Bud. There we go. So there's a guy that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Slides up the board, and my boy Dalton is just sitting here, guys.
I'm surprised he's still on the board. That's crazy.
Yeah, you got to wonder if this is one of those things that you find out there's a health concern based on medical records or something that comes out with a guy like that. Did you feel that Carrington wasn't going to go this high as well? Is this that
No, I
that
thought
guy
he
we were
would.
waiting for?
He was.
or-
I thought he was going to be gone. Most of the mock drafts had him. I don't have him high on my personal board. But I think most of the mocks had him going somewhere in the 16 to 20 range.
I had him. On my personal board, I had him 30. But when you look at the
Gotcha.
actual picks,
Yeah.
I had him around 20. I think actually, realistically, 20.
So,
So he went a little bit higher, but still not enough, like G is saying, for that like super. But again, Dalton being there, I don't think anybody had a board with Dalton still there at 15.
No.
So that's a shock to me.
He was like
and-
a top 8 for most of them.
Yeah, I mean,
so
wow.
we've seen a lot of guards go,
Uh-huh.
right? So I'm starting to think wing
This is
center.
shaking
That's
out.
where you're gonna look. Maybe a Tyler Kolek, like we've talked about, but you may have a lot of wings and centers sitting there. Trading back may not be as crazy as some people felt it was when it started to be talked about. You might have the opportunity to get a guy that can actually help while picking up another pick or two.
Can I ask you guys honestly? I know this guy wasn't in the plans, but if Dalton is there at 22,
Yeah,
can you pass on that?
I don't know if you can, man.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know if you
That's
can.
what I'm saying. And I mean, it's getting interesting. We got to
There's
figure
no
out why
way
he's
he'll
like-
be there that far.
I don't think so.
But I mean, just the scoring and the shooting ability it'd be hard to pass up, even though it doesn't address what you specifically need on the wing in terms of like defense.
Yeah.
That's a hard player to pass up on.
I know Bud in his 3-point system. He ain't gonna want to pass up on a 6'6" guy that can shoot it from anywhere.
Right.
outscore everybody. Screw defense. Mike D'Antoni mentality, right?
I mean, yeah, you're
If
going
it
to have
falls
to
to
really
you?
lean into it. Yeah, if he falls to you, it's hard to pass up, but he was the guy that was targeted a lot.
He was
Defensively,
He was.
that's a concern for me in terms of we need players that can come in on the wing and hold their not just hold their own defensively, but actually be designated defensive guys on the defensive end. That's not
Agreed.
Dalton at all.
No.
But
again, at 22,
if he's there, you could get a much better trade down.
You could
option.
Oh yeah,
as
if he's
well.
there at
Like
22,
maybe-
somebody may be like, hey,
like if the Bucks really like him,
Right.
and they're at 23 and 33.
right, give me
Hey,
both of
something.
those.
Hey, we'll take him if we
Yeah.
have to.
That's a
but
lot to
yeah.
give up for one guy, but if Milwaukee really likes him and he's somehow still there, something to consider.
I'm intrigued to see what's causing this slip.
Yeah.
I don't know how far he's going to slip. Like G said, he may be the next pick.
Could it simply
You know.
just be that this draft is so weird? And we talked about it. it flattens out at a certain point where a lot of guys are just kind of the same.
Yeah.
These teams could just have different preferences, right?
They could.
Where this is where it could be nothing. It might not be anything that's making him slip outside of the fact that a lot of these teams just had a different board than people expected.
Yeah.
This is Washington's pick. Actually,
So 14's going to the Wizards from that Denny Avdia trade.
Alex Saw and Bub Carrington. Not bad.
Yeah, that's not a bad haul.
Not bad.
If you're rebuilding.
Yeah, not bad.
So
who's up next?
It's the
Miami Heat. This one might worry me because
Heat culture, baby.
They just draft well.
Yeah, I mean they always do.
I wouldn't be shocked if they go after who.
Those asses. They just draft really well over there.
So we've got Miami, then Philly, and then the Lakers, the Bronny pick coming up at 17.
Oh wow, yeah.
Let's get excited for that.
That'll be. There's no way he goes at 17.
I don't want to jinx this,
It'd be
guys.
hilarious if he did.
I don't want to jinx this.
Okay.
Because there's another guy that
a wing.
Yeah,
I think we're thinking of the same guy that we've been wanting to fall to 22.
Yeah,
that we didn't think.
And the Heat. I mean, he just makes sense for the Heat.
Yeah.
The Heat would. This is a guy the Heat would take.
Bozo voiceover says Ware or Messi.
Both of them are still on the board.
Still on the board, man. We're at 15.
We're at 15.
So we're 6 picks away.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you right now,
7 if you do math right. But yeah,
is that 7? Yeah.
17, 18.
It's not my strong suit, man.
I didn't claim it was, so
that's fine.
Not my strong, but so 7.
Yeah, 7.
All right. So, I feel like we're gonna get a really good basketball player, man.
Mm-hmm.
I just there's a lot of talent still on the board, guys.
Mm-hmm. We're a haul to trade down. I think we're at a point. If you were 20, well, it's tough. I'll wait a few more picks because then we'll have a better idea of who will likely be there. I was going to ask you who would you take at this point, but I think there's still not enough clarity to go there.
I did not think Dalton would be there, so I think Dalton erases one of those next 7.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 big guys we're talking about, Ware and Missy, still on the board. The guy I don't want to mention his name is still on the board. Okay.
My thing though is I still haven't seen a guy that we were projecting
lower than
22 that's been taken. All of the guys that have been taken, I was expecting them to be off the board in some order. You're right. Depending on the order, it could shake up certain teams' draft boards and what they prioritize.
Agreed.
So that's still a possibility. But I need to see some name like Baylor Shireman or somebody that we were expecting later in the draft to go before we thought they would.
Shane, don't say that to
And
Shane.
I love Baylor. I'm not no shade at Baylor. I know you do. Shane loves Baylor more than anybody in the room, I think.
Shane loves anybody that can make him money.
He's a shooter though, man. I like him.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And the mustache. G. Okay, yeah.
You're looking for a Johnny Furphy to get called up early.
Man.
What?
The Miami Heat pick
Did they do it?
Did
they do it?
Not the guy that we were thinking. So the Miami Heat at number 15 are selecting Kel'el Ware out of Indiana.
Okay.
I like him.
And
you kind of get attached to them, and then you realize you're only getting like one of these dudes that you've spent hours watching their film.
I know.
And then you have to go watch them play somewhere else.
Well, this is interesting because it came out that Bam Adebayo got his extension today. This is another big man. There were some rumors that Bam might play the 4 for the Heat. There was talk about that, so they get a big man that can play a part in this, the 6'11" center out of Indiana. Interesting to see if that's where the Heat are planning to go.
Maybe. I know he's a super athlete. He's a lob threat, 7'5" wingspan, has show potential to be a stretch 5, can do some things on a dribble, super high potential. I think, a guy I compare him to is like, I think he can come in and do similar things that Derek Lively did this year for Dallas. I think he can come in right away, be a lob threat, put pressure on the rim, and then he's got some unique skill sets that I think he's got the highest ceiling of any big in this draft.
Okay.
Will he ever get there? I don't know. But if he get that shot down a little, like he can shoot the 3 right now. If he can master that at the NBA level, those measurables are scary as hell. So Miami Heat coaching, man, they make good picks. This guy's gonna probably be a ball player.
Yeah, unlike the Portland pick of taking a center, this does not mean anything for Bam's future. I'm sorry to Eric, who suggested Nurk in 22 for Bam, probably as a joke. But
you don't re-sign a guy and then
no. But I like this pick for the Heat, whether he's a backup or whether they try to play Bam at the 4 in some stretches. If there is any big in the league that is mobile and defensively inclined enough to do that, I think it's Bam. But either way, I like this pick for Miami. He's a guy that I had him number 2 in terms of my bigs that might be available for the Suns. Just because of the 3-point shooting. If that's able to translate to this level, then you got a guy who can pick and pop. You got a great rim runner, one of the more athletic, taller lob threats in that way. And I do think like athleticism, rim running, screen setting, those are all priorities if the Suns are going to go with a center. In the draft or in free agency, they need a little more athletic pop, and Ware is definitely one of the most athletic guys in that respect. Only 20 years old, 7'1" with a 7'5" wingspan and a 9'4" standing reach. So
it doesn't make sense.
He can get up there for those lobs. I would have liked him a lot. I do think he's a little bit more of a project compared to some of the other guys, but you're right. In terms of the rim running, screen setting, lob threat, he can contribute from day one.
There was only 2 centers that I would be okay with the Suns taking. He was one of them. I think he's got the highest ceiling. The only thing that I can say that worries me about Kel'el Ware is the motor. Okay. And it's
the Heat aren't going to put up with that crap,
well, that's
right?
interesting, right? Because the Heat coach, Eric Spoelstra is not going to put up with that. But if you watch his film enough, that is the one thing that consistently jumps out, especially if you watch full games. You'll see 2-3 minutes of brilliance. And then you'll see a couple minutes of where is he? Where's this guy at? The motor has always been a question, even going back to high school. He was better at Indiana, but I think that still needs to be addressed. This is a hell of a pick, though.
Now we're 6 picks away from the Phoenix Suns selecting.
6, we got it, baby.
Philly on the clock. This is a team that has a massive amount of holes to fill because I think like more than a third of their roster is free agents right now, right? You look at it, and really you're talking Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid are the guys that are their guys right now, right? So a lot of opportunity and play different areas that they can go. Where do you think they might lean?
I don't know.
Pure
because
speculation,
of what you said.
obviously.
Because of what you said, I mean, I think this is the epitome of take the best player. So I'm taking Don't Connect. I mean, that's what I'm doing. They barely have anybody on their roster. They got a lot of cap space. You got Joel Embiid. You got Tyrese Maxey. You got a lot of holes to fill. I'm taking best player on the board, and on my board, the 4th best player on the board is still there. I'm not going to turn down that type of shooting.
Do you think they might be wondering what the Clippers might be interested in? Because we keep hearing them named with Paul George.
Interesting.
Right? George can opt in. It could be a trade in that way. You got to wonder, is there some strategery going on here with it?
How about another, would they do that? Another big man? Another Cameroon guy? I know Yves Missy is
that would hurt my heart. I mean, I don't know.
I've heard, him and Embiid have some interesting connections.
I kind of wonder, is it also insurance when it comes to Embiid? We've seen the injuries with him.
Yeah.
You also, at some point, you may have to go, you know what? We're moving on from Embiid. And we're going to build around Maxey, and we need another big. I mean, it could be an opportunity there to hedge your bet a little bit.
It could be.
So we are, 6 picks out now? And these following 9 guys who I've all seen projected going before 22 or in the 22 range are still available. We got Dalton Connect, Jared McCain, Jacoby Walter, Keyshawn George, Yves Missy, Tristan Da Silva, Ryan Dunn, Johnny Furphy, and Isaiah Collier. So there could be a good option available.
We're gonna get a guy that we did not expect to be on the board is going to be there at 22,
which leads me to think you're more likely to trade potentially because you're going to be able to try to get more out of somebody.
You could.
Do the Knicks have
It
somebody they
depends
want
on
that
who-
bad?
Depends on who's on the board.
It's all beauty in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah. It depends on who's still on that board. There's two of the guys he mentioned. If they are still there at 22, there's no damn way I'm trading back.
Who?
One guy is De Silva.
Okay.
If De Silva's on the board, there's no way I'm trading that opportunity to take De Silva.
For me, my perfect night is the Knicks have somebody they want at 22. They already know that they got a lot of guys on this roster. You're not going to carry 2 first-round picks. So you trade 24 and 25 to go to 22. They can get their guy, and you get 2 shots.
I would love that.
That's my perfect night.
I would love that.
Yeah.
And that's possible. Man, I like the way this is shaking out. I'm starting to get a little nervous here.
Yeah.
You get some anxiety there, G?
No, I'm excited.
You excited?
No, I haven't. We haven't felt these feelings in 4 years, so this is cool.
Man, this is fun.
84
Look at this guy right
years.
here. Look at that guy right there, man. Somebody's gonna get that kid.
Dalton Connect.
Y'all can't see what I just saw, but yeah, Dalton Connect. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I really hope Bronny's at 17. Like just total chaos, because then that gives you even more guys falling to you.
Hey guys, we got another 30 picks tomorrow.
Thanks for reminding me.
I'm just saying
we're not doing it unless they trade in though. Like
I gotta feel that's why I'm intrigued with trading back, because I do think, man, there's some good players still on the board. Man, even second guys that seem like this board is shaking out. I think the first 5 to 7 picks tomorrow are going to be potential guys that have first round grades.
Yeah.
That kind of slipped out. So sheesh, pause. Yeah, this is fun. Who's on the board? Philly?
So you got Philly, about a minute and a half left to go for them. Then it's the Lakers. Then it's Orlando. So we're getting very close. When we get around pick 18 or 19, we'll go back to the best available. So Flex can kind of run us through who he sees still on the board that he likes with the Suns getting close here. Surprised we have not heard anything in terms of Philly's mindset here yet. Oh.
Well, I just did hear something in terms of Philly's mindset. The pick is in.
Oh, baby.
I planned that.
What do we got, G?
That was well planned. Philadelphia selecting Jared McCain at number 16. So
good pick.
Yeah.
Good pick. Good player.
Yeah, Philly getting value there. I do still wonder. I mean, he's a point guard, the 6'2" point guard out of Duke. I wonder, is this a potential? Can we flip the guy in a Clippers deal or something? But look, I think they're one of those teams that has had mixed results in the draft. I'll say that about him. But how do you guys feel about McCain?
I like McCain. Very smart, very heady, high IQ. NBA comp is a guy like Tyus Jones for me. Very similar playing style. Very charismatic. Good dude. Interviewed well. I heard he was just one of those guys that teams fell in love with. So, yeah, good steady basketball player. This is a good pick. Now, you think about Philly, and you say, okay, you got Tyrese Maxey, you just got McCain. Campaign's a free agent. So is Kyle Lowry. You think they bringing Kyle Lowry back. Does this pick kind of pull Campaign away from Philadelphia?
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense.
Right?
I mean, why invest in a point guard if your plan is to keep him and your plan is to bring back Kyle Lowry? Why would you need a Campaign unless you view him as more of a 2, but he's small at that spot. It could open up a window where he's available in that vet minimum range for the Suns, and I still think that that's where they're going to look for point guard. Is that vet minimum?
Agreed.
Especially with where we're looking at the wings that are available here in this draft, likely for him. So
agreed.
Yeah, I mean, I like this pick for the Sixers, and like you guys are saying, I do think it makes one of those 2 available, with Campaign feeling like the more likely one to be available, just because Kyle Lowry is obviously from Philadelphia, and I think Mark Stein was the one that reported that he'll likely re-sign there. He's a great pull-up shooter. He's a guy that is not afraid to launch from anywhere, McCain. So I think some comparisons I've seen somewhere between Steph and Seth Curry in terms of the shooting ability.
Hold on. That is a big range. That's
it's not.
Oh, come on.
I
That's
get
like
what, I
saying
get the
it's somewhere
joke.
between me and Charles Barkley in terms of basketball.
I get what
analysts.
you're saying, but we're still talking about the best 450 players on earth. Seth Curry is one of them.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a range.
He can shoot
Hey,
it. He can shoot
Are you
it.
saying that I'm not one of the 450 best guys to make dumb jokes on an NBA show like Chuck?
Okay, well, that's different.
I mean,
think
see,
you're like top tier.
Oh, well, perfect. Me and Chuck, fine. All right. All right.
This kid can shoot it. So I love his game. I tell you what, this was a guy that I believe if he slipped to 22, the Suns would have been all over him too. I think they like this kid. But I still like the way this board is shaking out, G.
Yeah.
I still like it. This Laker pick is going to be very intriguing.
Oh, man.
This Laker pick is going to be very intriguing. Hey, guys, if the Lakers take Filipowski, watch out. I'm just saying that because of the Duke connection.
Right.
There is some talk that they might trade this pick as well. Earlier in the week, there was the rumor that LeBron and AD are saying flip that pick for somebody that can help us now.
Is that right?
But we don't know. Let's take a look at Flex's big board here, as there is some top-tier talent that's still on the board. As we've talked about, Dalton Connect still sitting there, your fourth.
The whole first column, and then there's Dalton just chilling.
He's
still.
like Aaron Rodgers in the green room, just like, yo, what is going on,
Wasn't
man?
Aaron taking at 22? He was taking like 21, 22.
Yeah, right
so
around there.
Right there.
They just showed an image.
Yeah.
No, listen, there's still a lot of talent on this board. Still a lot of good basketball players available. I'm really intrigued by how this is going to shake out.
So let's look at, we'll recap. We'll start at 10. You can see the rest of the board there, but Cody Williams at 10. I keep Matassa. I can never Buzelis. Nikola Topic to the OKC Thunder. Devin Carter to the Kings. Carlton Carrington to the Washington Wizards. It was traded by the Portland Trailblazers. Kel'el Ware goes next there, and then Jared McCain at 16, the point guard, to the Philadelphia 76ers. So we joke about Bronny at this spot because it would be just unbelievable insanity if it happened. But if you're the Lakers, what are you trying to do? I assume you're operating as if LeBron's coming back, right? I mean,
you would have to.
You would think you're operating that way. So what's a guy that you can get that can help them now in their pursuit, but potentially still be a guy that helps you when inevitably this guy goes away?
It's the guy whose name we don't want to
All
say,
right,
but
then we're not going to say. Bronny
Yeah.
James is that guy.
Yeah, I don't want to say his name, Espo, but that guy would immediately fit.
He's a guy out of Colorado, and we have seen him mocked to the Lakers several times in the weeks leading up to this draft. So it's entirely possible he goes here.
Yeah, and great fit too. Great fit.
He's a guy that can come in
defender,
on any team. Yeah,
any team. This guy can come in on any team and just he's going to be a pro. He's from Germany, right? He's from Germany.
Is he?
I want to say he's from Germany. The
just
Colorado
Silva
kid.
Sounds more.
You did
Don't
it.
say it.
They're the gold there in.
Oh yeah, so he's Brazilian German.
In Germany, yes,
Brazilian
and
German.
he's got some. He's got some. Some skills from overseas. He played overseas a little bit. Those guys. He's just This kid is NBA ready. And if he comes to the Lakers, that would be a fantastic pick. Come on, G. Tell me
the pick is in.
It's not our guy. Please,
not our guy.
Bronny. No, I'm kidding.
At number 17, the Lakers are selecting Dalton Connect.
All right.
That makes perfect sense. He's the best player on the board.
Yeah, that's a good pick for them.
More talent
coming. Best player on
the
the
Suns'
board.
direction. That guys that you were hoping would be in the 22 range. Now there, as Connect falls there, and the Lakers get him.
That's a good ball player. That's great value for the Lakers. At 17, they got Dalton Connect.
That guy was supposed to go in the top 8.
Top 8, and again, I loved it. I am 4th on my board, man. I mean, sheesh.
Yeah.
JJ Redick knows how to get them shooters.
So another.
I'm telling you, JJ's probably in that war room saying, "If you don't get me this kid, yeah." So good.
Just
good
wait till Bronny at 22, and we can start all the rumor. No,
baby.
Look, it's another West team that just got better. Let's be honest about it.
Yeah.
They just got better with that pick. We're now sitting, I'll do the math here, 4 picks away from the Phoenix Suns here. We'll take a look at the best available in a few minutes here as we get closer to that pick. But
he might be their best shooter already.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, bro. Yeah, like my man Austin, he's already in trouble. Connect gonna come in and let it go, man.
I feel like LeBron and JJ are already doing one of their podcasts there, going over ways you can get Connect open off the curl or whatever it is. This is how we can get this guy some 3-pointers, all right?
My fear when we started to see this thing shake out is that Dalton would end up on a team. Like, he's already a really good player. You put him in a team that's got more firepower and is better, not a bottom feeder in the NBA. Man, that shit can get scary. So
now we hope that there was a reason this kid fell, and it's a bad one, right? Since it was the Lakers. I don't wish anything bad on the kid.
I know what you mean.
Just on the Lakers.
Well,
I think it's what G said, though, defense.
Right, and it is rough because the further Connect fell, the more likely you were able to get a bigger haul back as the Suns if you're looking to trade down. So that's unfortunate that he went there because we're still at status quo. Every single player that has been drafted so far was projected to go before 22.
Well, do you think we get a surprise here in the next 4 that shakes something
Who's on
loose?
the board? Lakers? So
Orlando, Toronto.
I'm sorry.
I forget. Cleveland and then New Orleans at 21 before the Suns. So the Magic need shooting. They would have loved for Connect to fall one more pick. That's brutal for them because they need shooting.
For them.
But yeah, so we've still got, who do we still have on the board? We still have Jacoby Walter, Keyshawn George, Yves Massey, who the Pelicans do need a center. So there's a very good chance that he might be off the board then.
Yep.
The guy whose name we're not mentioning, even though I mentioned it, Ryan Dunn, Johnny Furphy, Isaiah Collier, all still on the board with 4 picks to go.
You know who's a guy that is still on the board? This is right around the range where I had him coming off. Keyshawn George. And so I'm looking at these next 2-3 picks and expecting this kid to be off the board. I'd be shocked if he goes past 20. But again, I think that fits into what I'm looking for with the Suns. So you wanted to kind of stay. G, listen, I think you nailed it with New Orleans. I think that could be the lane for Yves.
Right.
But again, that's still. Man, I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it, guys. But
We're
I'm
4 picks away from
I'm
addressing a very big need on the wing in terms of two-way wings that are plus sized. If the Suns stay there, still a lot to shake out here.
I love that plus size is a good thing in an NBA draft, but when it's said about me, I just feel ashamed.
We need to enter you in the draft, man.
Yeah, well, look at that. That Espo, he's plus size. I think we can make some money in this draft. By the way, shout out to Saul Bookman in the chat. The man could be sitting somewhere nice, sipping a nice cocktail on the cruise ship that he's on, and instead he's decided to pay for the overpriced Wi-Fi. I don't like that. I do not like. I'm going to choose to. Does that mean a pick is in here? Is a pick in here? Because I don't think I want to hear it after you made that sound, Gerald.
The pick.
I don't. Hey, hold on. Let the sounder go. Gerald, please break somebody's heart right now.
At number 18.
Oh, fuck.
The Magic are selecting Tristan da Silva.
Damn.
The dream is dead.
At least we can actually say his name now.
We can.
Tristan da Silva.
What a pick for that young team, man.
They just love their wings, man.
Yeah.
They're
How many do they need?
lengthy ass wings. Like, that's a good pick for them.
Great pick.
We really liked da Silva. We talked about him a few weeks back when we were previewing wings.
Yeah.
He's a guy that is one of the better shooters in the draft. Projects to have a lot of upside as a two-way wing, but can come in and help you right now. This is a great pick for Orlando.
Great pick for a team that's doing some good things. It's starting to contend. I don't know how many damn wings they need, but this guy comes in day one, mature, can switch on defense, can play all over the court. Very smart. Why are you smiling at me there?
Cerebral player.
I'm laughing at Saul responded, bro, I'm watching you on the deck of the ship right now. All right, fair enough. Sorry.
He's with that nice little Hawaiian shirt.
I can hide in the jungle while wearing shorts outfit. Yes,
the get up.
Saul out there.
Look, he's one of the older players in the draft.
Yeah.
He's 23 years old, but he would have been a 3-and-D guy who can contribute right away. 6'9", 6'10" wingspan. He's actually a really good playmaker off the bounce as well. He throws these incredible one-handed kind of wraparound passes. He knows how to draw in a defender towards him.
Yeah.
Our friend Steven Prigion Garner, when he was on the show, made the comparison in terms of his game and especially his shooting stroke to a Nicholas Batum, just a smart two-way wing who does a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So really good pick for the Magic. Unfortunate for the Suns that he will not be there at 22.
I love the Batum comparison. I did see a little Cam Johnson in his game, which I think Phoenix Suns fans would have really enjoyed. G's right. He sees the court well. He's able to attack a defense and collapse the defense and just make the right plays. Again, on tape, to me, one of the more mature, high IQ players in this draft. He's 23. He's ready to play right now. That's a terrific pick for the Magic. And they're gonna be good, man. They're doing some good things. Good for Orlando. I hate that they took our guy.
But again, no surprise, right? It would have been a surprise if he was there at 22.
Yes.
So we're still pretty much where maybe guys went higher than we thought they would in that range of guys that were going to go before 22.
Still kind of chalk.
Yeah, we're still chalk in that way. So we're sitting at 19 in Toronto, then Cleveland
19
on the board. We're at 19 now with the Orlando selection in. So we're 3 away. I mean, is it too early to start talking about what guy you'd like at this spot? Because I feel like right now we can look and we can go, okay, he may be off the board in one of these next 3, but in a perfect world, who do you want at 22?
I mean, there's... I don't want...
Look, we've jinxed everything already. Just go with it.
All right, so listen. We know that we like Ryan Dunn. He's still on the board. We know that we like Yves Missy. He's still on the board. Tyler Collect's still on the board. Right? So these are guys that we talked about ad nauseum for the last couple of weeks, and they're still there.
Right.
What about Keyshawn George?
Keyshawn George.
Big-time shooter.
I'm not as high on him, I'll be honest.
Yeah, so Gerald not as high on him, but he's still on the board, which to my point, I think Keyshawn could go in these next couple picks. I really see that. So
Collier still there from
Isaiah Collier.
At one point they thought was going to be at the top of this draft.
Yeah, a sneaky guy is Terrence Shannon Jr., who's still there.
I think he'd be a good trade down.
That's what I was going to say. I'm starting to feel like, depending on these next 2 picks, I'm starting to feel like we're in trade down area. De Silva was the guy that kind of, like, that was the last guy that I was like, okay, you can't trade that pick. But now that he's gone, I think they got a couple options. And if they trade back, I wouldn't be mad.
Trade down is where I am still sitting at, right? That's where I've been. Interesting. Knicks are going to lose Hartenstein, right? If Missy's sitting there, and you got this, you've got this conundrum, right? Because you need a center, but they might, and you might be able to get those assets that you so desire. Would you take Missy, or would you look at the trade back?
It depends on what they're willing to give me. Like if it's just 25 and 38. I don't know. You have to have a feel for what's going to happen after your picks too, because you don't want to trade down and then the one guy that you thought would be there goes before you, and then you kind of screw yourself over in that way when you could have just had him at 22.
Agreed.
But I do feel like to a certain extent, you have to have a feel for what's coming next. I like Missy at 22. I do. I wouldn't be mad about Dunn at 22 either, but I do think like some of those guys are going to fall a little bit, and I think you can trade back a few slots and still get them.
Agreed.
You're not going to get 24 and 25 for 22. That's for sure.
No, not at this point. Yeah. I don't think there's that guy that would have fallen.
Right.
Right now, Keyshawn George and Jacoby Walter are 2 guys that I'm shocked are still there, and things can get interesting. Because Jacoby Walter is a guy I don't think anybody thought would be sitting there at 22. He's more of a 2 guard. Okay. He's intriguing as hell, man. He's intriguing as hell. I don't know if it's what we need, but again, you gotta look at the value of the player and be like, yo, sometimes taking the best player available is
Can
right
you
move.
do that though in this situation when you're the Suns? Because you have so few options to correct the issues you have. And if you take a best player available that is in an area that you already have, isn't that, to me, that feels like it's derelict of your duties as a Suns front office, because you have to fill these holes if you're actually going to be in the mix to be a title contender. And this is one of your few opportunities to do it
on a rookie deal too.
Right. So I don't know that I could.
I tell you what, there's 10 guys. There's 10 guys still on this board that I really like.
Okay.
I can make an argument for 10 guys. If you gave me any of those guys, I can make an argument why I like it. Right? And so I'm feeling like a trade down is the move, man.
It's feeling that way. We do have the pick in at number 19.
Why do you have that look, Espo?
Every time he says it, I just expect it to be one of the guys you want.
Scaring me.
Toronto is selecting Jacoby Walter at number 19.
That makes a hell of a lot of sense.
He's off the board. We figured he'd be off the board.
Yeah.
We did talk about him when we were going through some prospects earlier. Interesting guy. Bucket getter for sure.
Bucket,
flex
big
thoughts?
body. I mean, 6'6", big kid. Was one of the better players coming out of high school in the country. I think he was a top 15 pick coming out of high school. Really good shot. He's not a point guard. To me, he's a two guard. He projects as a big two guard in the NBA for me.
Right.
He can play the point in spots. I think he's more of a combo guard. If you're in a pinch, he can play the point guard, but I think he's more of a two. Didn't fit what the Suns were looking for.
Right.
But had a hell of a year at Baylor as a freshman. A lot of talent. I think he can be a stud in the NBA. I really do. He's really strong too, G. Really strong. I think defensively has the potential to do some things. Got to get his hips better. And you mentioned that.
Yeah, he did. He does defensively for sure.
Hey, as old men, we know about having to get our hips better. We actually have our friends from the All NBA show, Tim Legler and Adam Morris, to weigh in on Jacoby Walter.
Jacoby Walter, Baylor freshman, 6'4" shooter, got a 6'10" wingspan, so he's super. Most guys, like their wingspan and height are close, within an inch or two. A 6-inch longer wingspan than your height is pretty abnormal. So he has that going for him. What is it you like about this guy?
Yeah, look, I hear what you're saying. I'm in that 6'4", 6'5" range, and my wingspan is again that like 6'6", 6'7" range. 6'10",
which is good. That's positive.
Which is fine.
Really
I'm happy with it. It worked well for me. You know, I could get my shot off over 6'6" guys, but 6'10", man, that's outrageous. And listen, the bottom line is the guy can flat out shoot the ball. He can shoot it off the catch. He can shoot it off the move. He can flat out score, and he's so young. You think about it, he's already doing it at this level now. He's that impressive as a guy to just put the ball in the basket. What's that going to look like in 3 or 4 years? There's no telling. Look, I'm not saying he can be. He's a Devin Booker, but do you remember what Devin Booker's college year looked like? Like no one knew what that was. He was like, kid's got a nice stroke. He averaged like 10 points a game. Like you didn't know what that was. But the fact that you knew that he had great mechanics, it gave you hope that, like, man, you know, when this mechanics are already that good, when he adds strength, he adds an escapability with his dribble. Who knows? He might still be growing even a little bit and add strength. You start to project out like how good this can look in 3 or 4 years. So he just, from a flat out, put the ball in the basket, shooting, scoring perspective, I love him.
The fluidity is the thing here, because there are players with great mechanics who don't necessarily shoot fluid. Vasenkov is a guy that comes to mind. Great mechanics, but it's kind of too motion, like gets up, throws it. And then there's guys like Devin Booker where everything they do just seems to flow naturally, one movement to the other. And when they get to their shot, it's just natural. He's the latter to me. And I'm curious because you're obviously the shot expert, but the fluidity is the part that I think unlocks so much, because when you talk about catch and shoot, one dribble, pull up, the different types of things, the fluidity of movement to me is what bridges the multiple types of shot, falling to your right, falling to the left. The more fluid you are, the more it seems you're capable of doing that. And he's a guy to me that has that fluidity.
Welcome back in. It's the PHNX Suns Draft Extravaganza. We are 20 away. Let's recap where we're at in the draft so far. We can take a look at that. No real surprises so far, outside of maybe the first pick. There were some surprise in that where how that went for the Hawks. But really, in these 19 picks, been pretty chalk. We have not seen a guy go that we didn't expect.
Yeah, no surprises in that respect. You could, poke fun at some of the order of those picks, but so far nobody has come off the board that we're like, whoa, we've had him going past 22. So it's going to be interesting to see how these next 2 picks before the Suns are on the clock shake out, because there are a number of prospects, Yves Massey, Ryan Dunn, Tyler Collect, 3 guys that the Suns liked that could be available there. But they also had prospects that they liked further down that they could potentially trade back, like we've been talking about, from number 22. The Jazz have 29 and 32. Those are a team that you could target there. Minnesota at 27 and 37. And the Knicks 24, 25 and 38. So there are options there in terms of what you'll be able to trade down for. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to depend on who is available at 22 and who picks up the phone and contacts the Suns asking to trade up.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent still on this board, and Flex will join us in a few moments to talk about who are the best available. We are very much on trade watch when it comes to the Suns. We've heard trade down is a lot of the potential that's going on here with the Suns. As you mentioned, still a lot of talent there. Maybe an opportunity to do that and gain some ammunition that you can use in different ways. I don't like that look. Gerald has been giving crazy looks. Something big must have just happened.
Remember how we were waiting for a player to go higher than we were expecting?
Yeah. Does that mean the pick's in?
The pick is in.
Does that mean the pick's in for the Cleveland Cavaliers? What insanity do we have now, Gerald? What did the Cavs do? Bronny James?
Cleveland is selecting Jalen Tyson at number 20.
Wow. So there is your surprise pick, right? A guy that nobody thought was going to go quite that high is now there off the board at 20. So now we're at 21. New Orleans is left.
And I'm sorry to say for our producer, hopefully the computer doesn't freeze, but the pick is already in for number 21 as well.
Hold on. What did they run to the goddamn podium?
They were excited on that one.
Look, did they literally just run to the podium? They must have. They premature jocularity. I mean, they just went, nope, I'm going. You're
struggling to find the words.
I'm struggling because this happened so fast, right?
Yeah.
We're 2 picks ahead of ESPN at this point, right? So the pick is in. Let's take a look at Gerald. What are we feeling? What is going on in this insanity?
New Orleans is taking Yves Massey at number 21.
Right.
We thought this would be the case. They needed a center. Jonas Valanciunas is probably gone, so not surprising. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah. Okay. We've got Anchorman Ron Burgundy over here. Look, this was a guy that we looked at and thought that the Suns could have a lot of interesting, could fill that backup center role and maybe become your starting center in not too long. So now I think it's basically where we're at is you got to look at a wing or you're trading down.
I like the players that are still available. I'm telling you right now, if I'm the Suns, I'm on the phone trying to trade down because there's just a lot of talent. There's a guy like Keyshawn George who's still on the board, and I'm shocked that he's still there. He's a very young player, not athletic, but could shoot the heck out of the basketball. You still got one of my favorites in Ryan Dunn. You still got Tyler Collect. This is now getting to the point where I'm like, if you can find a trade down partner, you definitely do it.
Yes.
Yeah, I
completely agree.
Yeah, there's very few names that I think you just trade down for, right, and just go straight or stay at 22 and not consider trading down for. There's not that one name that I go, you got to take this guy at 22, right?
Yes.
When you have so much that's left on the board for you that will be there if you trade down with the New York. If you look at Utah, right? I know that I think there's going to be a lot of people that think Ryan Dunn should be the guy. You should just go to the podium, take him, and be done with it. No pun intended. Do you guys feel the same way?
I love Ryan Dunn, but here's the thing: the way the board is shaking out, and what the Knicks did last night with Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, to me, the Knicks were the biggest threat for Ryan Dunn. Now I'm not so sure. And so I think there's a crazy opportunity here to maybe get a Ryan Dunn a little bit later than we thought. And so the Tyson pick was a surprise. That's what we were waiting for. This allows the opportunity, I think, for the Suns to move down and still get a Ryan Dunn. And that's what I'd be shooting for.
All right. I'm going to reset here. It's the PHNX Suns draft extravaganza. Espo, Gerald, Flex here along with you. The Phoenix Suns are on the clock. The last two picks came fast and furious. Let's talk about Jalen Tyson to the Cavs first at 20. This was the surprise pick that you guys said might happen that could shift things for the Phoenix Suns. What about this guy do you like, and what made it such a surprising pick to the Cavs at 20?
Well, this guy's a bucket. This guy can score at every level. He's a pro scorer. This guy's going to come in and be a scorer. No question about it. I didn't have him 20, but I know that his ability to get buckets, his ability to score from all levels, his shiftiness, his ability to attack defenses is pro level, NBA ready. So, I mean, I'm not shocked. He's a talented guy. I didn't think 20, but I think it's a good pick.
All right, so then let Yves Missy goes next to the New Orleans Pelicans, a guy like we talked about the Suns have had interest in. If they thought if he was going to be available there at 22, he goes a pick before them, the 6'11 center out of Baylor. What did the Pelicans get in this guy that you really like, Flex?
A dog. Yeah. A dog. Just a guy that doesn't know how to shut it off. You got to reel him in. He's going to be a heck of a guy on the glass. He's going to be a lob threat, a rim roller. He's going to bring you energy. This is a winning basketball player. This is one of those guys that's not going to wow you with the stats, but you love him on your team. He's going to set massive screens. He has the potential to be a shooter. And surprisingly, he can handle the ball a little bit. Like Yves Missy can handle the ball a little bit. He's a very intriguing prospect and a guy that I think is going to develop into a better player than you're seeing right now.
Yeah, we talked a lot about the Suns, if they were going to get a center in this draft, needing some rim running, some athleticism, a lob threat, a good screen setter. He's one of the best in all of those categories in this draft, I think. And the defensive potential is incredible because Sam Vecini of The Athletic compared him to a Clint Capella, only more switchable. And Clint in his prime was pretty switchable,
very switchable
on the perimeter. So if that's a guy that you can put in any defensive coverage, that's a really nice fit. I like that pickup for the Pelicans, addressing a position of need for them too.
So Suns are on the clock. We're looking at this. Flex, let's go to your big board. Guys that you've liked. Tell me what you're looking at. These were guys that you just liked in general. Of these guys, who do you like for the Suns if they stick at 22? What are you looking at?
Listen, I love Ryan Dunn. I love Tyler Smith, guys. Tyler Smith, I think, has off-the-charts potential. G League guy. Ryan Dunn, Tyler Smith, Tyler Collect are all guys that I'm fascinated with. And Terrence Shannon Jr. is a guy that's just a pit bull. Has some issues off the court. Some of those things have been
legal
rectified.
trouble, but that he was acquitted of.
That's right,
correct?
Acquitted. So now we're just talking basketball. If we're talking basketball, this is a guy that's played 5 years. He's ready to go. He's got an NBA body. He's a bull coming down the court, 100 miles an hour. So there's some intriguing guys here. But if it was my pick and I couldn't trade down, I'm taking Ryan Dunn.
I'm sorry, I got to say something. Woj breaking coaching news in the middle of the draft. Kenny Atkinson is now going to be the coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Didn't that happen?
Well,
early?
it was just that he was
like official.
Details on the contract. It's a 5-year deal.
Come on, Woj.
Read the room, my brother.
Come on, Woj.
Woj just had some bad tweets in the last 24 hours.
Sure
that
has.
Sun stuff. Hey, can you tell me some assistant coaching news next, Woj? Can I get some numbers on what the Suns assistant coaches might be making? Yeah, read the room. Exactly. So back to looking at the Suns here. There is so much talent.
Yeah.
Do you risk moving back to 29? Is there enough talent here that you call the Jazz and you go, I want 29, I want your second? Do you do it?
I do.
I think so.
I do.
I think so. Man, it's tough. But I think if Missy was there, I'd be a little more conflicted.
If Missy was there, I'm picking Missy.
Yeah, but I think since he's off the board, I do worry. I think with the Knicks trading for Mikal Bridges, re-signing OG Anunoby, maybe they're less inclined to be all in on Ryan Dunn at 24, 25.
I agree.
So maybe you could get him at 29 still.
Yeah.
There might be a chance he's off the board for those of you that like Dunn the best. Oh, man, it's tough.
Okay, can we make it very clear? Bronny is not going.
Listen, Keyshawn George, again, is a guy that I think he's very young.
Mm-hmm.
He's not as athletic, but he can shoot the heck out the basketball. Miami product. James Jones is a Miami guy. I'm sure James Jones has been watching this kid. I did some extensive film on him. I'm a little higher than some people are on him. I'm surprised he's still on the board. But again, I'm still... If I had to make this pick and there's no trade down, it's absolutely Ryan Dunn for me. I love Ryan
100%.
Dunn, but I do think that at this point of draft, there's a way to get him a little bit later. So I would explore that.
Yeah, well, I agree. Ryan Dunn, the defense is off the charts, what he can do. Athletic, can cut.
How did
those are all things that this team very much needs. But I don't know. I look at 29 and I feel that might be too far at this point to go back, right? We've only had one guy that we didn't think would go in the top 21 go.
I agree. It's a risk. But like Gerald said, when you negotiate these picks and you negotiate these trades, you're also getting a feel for who's behind you and what they're doing. You're on the phone with those guys too. So if you make this trade, knowing that you're confident that a guy that you want is going to be there.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you would think.
Yeah, you would think so.
You would think, yeah.
Or you're in asset accumulation mode and you're okay with multiple prospects that are still on the clock.
I agree with that too.
It could be more than just, we really like this guy, we think he'll be there. It could just be, we don't have one particular guy that we like a couple, and we think one of them will be there at that point.
So where's the line, right? Because we know the Knicks have 38, and you could get 24 or 25 in that. Is that too far back in the second? Does it have to be 29 and 32 that Utah has, or do you feel you could go 25 and that Knicks second rounder and still be comfortable?
I would be comfortable with that. If you gave me 25 and 38, is it Knicks?
25 and 38.
If you gave me 25 and 38, I'm dropping down. I still think I get done at 25.
Would be that you're taking a risk, but again, you've mentioned there's plenty of guys that you move 3 picks down that you're going to get somebody.
Yeah. Deron Holmes is still on the board too. I don't think he's a guy for the Suns, but I think he's a guy that's going to come off the board soon. Keyshawn George is going to come off the board soon. Pay attention to Shyman, over Creighton, Baylor Shyman. So this is getting interesting, guys. I still like a lot of the talent on the board, though. I think the Suns can walk away with a good player tonight, or maybe multiple.
Multiple.
Ooh, all right. We got a trade alert.
Okay, here we go.
For us, or is it somebody? Is it somebody else?
For us.
It's for us, baby. Let's go.
Trade alert, Gerald. Give us the news.
Phoenix is trading number 22 to Denver, who will take Deron Holmes II.
What? So
Denver had number 28. So
okay.
Oh.
Well, hold on. Nothing else. Got to be something else to that deal.
I mean,
there's something
there will
else.
be. We haven't gotten all the details.
Oh, but Denver's taking 22, and I know Denver loved Deron Holmes, so I'm not surprised by that. We're dropping down to 28. We must feel that there's a guy that's going to slip down to 28. I want to know what the rest is.
So we're getting 28, and it sounds like we could be getting 3 second-round picks.
Hey.
Future. So interesting. So you're going to get
one this year, maybe 2 future.
28 and Denver second-round picks. Potentially the other. So that's all right. So
is that 56?
I don't know, but we said so right now it sounds like it's going to probably be 28, 56, and two other future seconds, picks, which gives you the ability now to sweeten a trade,
put some things
for
together.
something else, and guess what range you're in that second round now?
Yeah, you're in that range.
You're in the Bronny range.
It's 56 though. It's one pick after the Lakers.
Yeah, but if LeBron really doesn't care if he's playing there, I don't know. Or now you've got ammo that you could trade further up.
Okay,
so.
I don't mind 28. I still think a player that you like at 28.
Does Dunn fall all the way to 28?
I think he could. I really do think he could. I think Dunn could fall to 28. Again, the Knicks thing is that the Knicks were the team I was most worried about. I think, again, with Mikal and OG, I don't know if you go that route. They need a center. They need some other things on the board. I'm a little disappointed about 56, but when you throw in 2 extra seconds and that gives you ammunition to add some things onto something later, I can understand it.
Okay, so we do have the details as far as number 28, number 56, and 2 second-round picks to the Suns.
All right, so 22 goes to the Denver Nuggets, who will likely select Ron Holmes. And then the Suns get 28, 56, and 2 future first-round.
Second round.
Second round. First round would be really nice. 2 future second-round picks. That's our Desert Financial transaction of the day. Thank you to our friends over at Desert Financial Credit Union. Don't forget, if you sign up for a online checking account right now, you can get $200 in bonuses thanks to our friends over at Desert Financial Credit Union. So the Suns, as we said, you reported it yesterday. You said expect a trade down.
Yeah,
they do exactly what you were hearing, and they they move down to 28, right? So now we got to hold our breath for a handful
Why
more.
Why are you smiling,
picks.
G?
Because this is fascinating. So I know that people, when we talked about trading down, we're probably looking at, okay, you trade down a few spots and then you get one early or the middle of the second round to take another player. But in reality, what they did is they traded back 6 spots. They added 2 additional second-round picks for the future, which is good.
Yeah.
And they're also 1 pick right after the Lakers pick in the second round at number 55. And who do we keep talking about in the second round?
Could you imagine if the Lakers passed on him and the Suns took him 1 pick later?
Well, that was my thing. As soon as I saw it was 56, I'm like, oh man,
that's 1 after the Lakers.
If it was 54, I feel so much better about this. But 56,
you could always trade 56 and one of those future second rounders if you feel that good to move up a little bit in this one to go after.
How about the drama tomorrow, guys? 55 and 56, Lakers Suns, toe-to-toe, letting it go in Tokyo, baby. Who's going to take Bronny James?
Guess what we're doing tomorrow? A 1 p.m. second-round draft show is definitely a start, but we still have plenty of drama this evening. The Suns with the 28th pick now. I want to hear from the chat. How are you guys feeling about the Suns moving down to 28 and gaining 3 second-round picks as part of the deal? We will read your comments shortly. Flex, so Dunn's the target, it feels like, right?
I mean, for me, it's still Dunn. That's the top guy that I'm looking at 28. Again, I think the Knicks are the intrigue to this whole thing. I want to give the Suns a little bit more credit and understand that when they're negotiating these trades and they're having these conversations, they're also feeling the temperature of the teams behind them. And they must have felt very good about a guy that they can get at 28 to move down 6 spots. But to G's point, you move down 6 spots and you get 3 extra picks in regards to just draft capital. That's pretty damn good, guys. That's pretty damn good to get 3 second-round picks to move down 6 spots, and then you still might get the guy you wanted in the first place. If they're able to come away with a Ryan Dunn, I'd be thrilled.
Does that help our Hopium fans who wanted future assets? We don't know, but there are so many of you in here right now watching live. Can hit the like button for us, right? Hit that like button, and then I want to tell you about something else, right? You can become a PHNX diehard today by going to gophnx.com. You're going to get exclusive content from Gerald Bourguet, which is unbelievable. I mean, it is the kind of stuff that you dream of when it comes to written content. Yeah. I just have to pump him up because he's not listening right now.
Working.
And then you also get discount on all our events. We have so many fun events. You get access to our Discord. Nothing like it on the internet. A lot of fun talking Arizona sports there. You get a free shirt or hat every year that you're a diehard member. So become a diehard. Go to gophnx.com. And let me tell you about our friends over at Shady Rays, right? These guys are going to provide you with the best shades that you could ask for at a price that you can more than live with, right? This is a unbelievable company that you need to know about. They provide the premium quality shades. And guess what? Over 300,000 people have rated them 5 stars, right? That means that people not only like these, but they also are like them enough that they go online to review them. That means that they're good. But the best part for me, I love the quality. I love the way the shades look, but they have the best guarantees that you could have. Lose them, they're going to take care of you. Break them, they're going to get you another pair. That's the way, how much they believe in their product, and they want you happy, so you can do that. So exclusively for our listeners and viewers, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com. Use that promo code PHNX for $35 off, or $35, 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades, rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. And I think you guys need to buckle in because I know the 28th pick is exciting, but let me tell you what's even more exciting. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to announce that Smooth Sack Summer is officially upon us. When you're playing in the summer sun, make sure you're groomed from pubes to bun. I'm reading, guys. This is not me ad-libbing here. Thanks to our friends at Manscaped, you can make this season your smoothest yet. The Performance Package 5.0 Ultra is the ultimate bundle to keep your boys downstairs cool while looking hot. Join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. Get 20% off and free shipping when you go to manscaped.com and use the promo code SUNS. Summertime and trimming is easy. And don't forget, you're going to get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code SUNS at manscaped.com. 20% off, free shipping with the code SUNS at manscaped.com. It's Smooth Sack Summer, boys. Get on board or get left behind. And guess what? I will give one of these Lawnmower Performance Package 5.0s to whoever the Suns select at 28. Okay. I'm just feeling that giving today.
That's very generous.
I really wanted to give you guys a few minutes to gather yourselves, see what we could find out. Where are you feeling? 28 coming up. We have 23 with Milwaukee, the 2 Knicks picks, the next 3 on the board. I feel like there might be another trade here. I still think the Knicks make some kind of move and deal one of those first-round picks. But do you look at Tyler Kolek, Isaiah Collier? Those are point guards on the board. You got Dunn there. Like, who do you think is actually going to be left there? I feel like the 2 point guards might be. I don't know about Dunn.
Yeah, I think Collier will be there. I think Collette could be there. I know I've done some background checking on Ryan Dunn. I know the Celtics like Ryan Dunn. So I don't know if he can go any farther than 28. I think at 30, the Celtics would run to the board and take a Ryan Dunn. And that would be scary because you're adding one of the most defensive-ready prospects in the NBA draft to probably the most dynamic defensive team in the league in the Celtics. I tell you, there's a guy, you still got Scheinman, you got Bobby Klippman, who I like a lot. These are guys that they have they're projecting a second, but I gave them first-round grades. So there's still some talent there, G. There's still some talent there. I'm holding out hope for Ryan Dunn. I still think 28 the Suns can get done. It's going to decide on what happens with New York. I think New York is going to dictate this whole thing at 24 and 25. Hoping we get a trade out from the Knicks at some point.
So I want to read some of the chat. We asked for your responses. Juan says 28 is nonsense. We've got Chris says that's so stupid. Sandman 520 says okay. 3 more picks. All right. We've got Juan again saying nobody is good at 56. All right. You're not pinning your hopes on that.
They literally just drafted Toumani Camara last year in the 50s.
Mike B says this is dumb. If we get Collect, then we look like geniuses, but Collect probably won't be there at 28. I don't
disagree.
know. I think he will. Shane Diefenbach, the mustache behind the Mac, goes, Baylor at 28 going to hit so hard. So
we do have the next pick in.
Okay, let's go. Let's get to it.
Who's the next guy?
Let's get to it.
Wasn't expecting this. Milwaukee is selecting A.J. Johnson.
Oh,
at
baby.
number 23.
So that
Malik
helps.
called it. Malik liked this guy a lot. My guy Malik is in the studio here. We did a lot of.
Say it. It's your son who's helped out with all week on draft
My
stuff.
guy Malik has been putting in a lot of work. This is one of his favorite players, man. He's been talking about this guy for a while. This kid's exciting. This kid's got a lot of talent. He had a second round grade for me, but this is one of those surprises, G.
Yep.
This is why you make that deal, because the Suns are probably getting intel from back channels, and they're like, okay, this is going to be a shakeup here. This is one more pick closer. This is a guy that no one had as a first round grade.
Nope.
So now you cooking. Now you cooking.
Yeah,
So-
just looking at some draft boards, like the Ringer has him at 51. So just for some perspective here, everybody's draft board's a little bit different,
I'll
but
tell you what
I
he
didn't
was
see
on mine.
very many, if any, first round grades for this guy. So that's, again, if you have a feel for what's coming next and you're able to trade down and still get the guy that you liked at 22 while adding a couple second rounders, I know it's not sexy and it's, they're second rounders, but we kept talking about in all of these trade scenarios we were coming up with for the guys they have under contract, like giving up a first round pick for a lot of those trades was too much. If you had maybe a second or two to throw on top of it, then you could work with some of the trades that we were coming up with. Well, now they do. So second rounders don't have a ton of value by themselves, but you throw them on top of a player, suddenly you're able to get a deal across the finish line.
Is this a guy that the Bucks go, okay, well, we like a lot of what we have. This is a guy we're okay taking a chance on.
Yeah.
Because we can give him a little bit of time, and let him grow a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
To me, if I'm Giannis, if I'm
Dame
Lillard, I don't know how I feel about taking a guy that some people had 51st on their board.
Can I talk about? Okay, so AJ Johnson again. Shout out to my guy Malik. He made me pay more attention to this guy. And after looking at the tape and breaking it down and really digging in, I had him 35 on my overall board. So he wasn't as low because I could see the talent. You know what my comp is for this kid? Anthony Simons.
Okay.
A guy who played with Dame Lillard in Portland.
So they've got the Dame replacement ready.
Hey, listen, and it's not a surprise that when you got a guy like a Dame Lillard or Giannis, you have these conversations. I wouldn't be shocked if a guy like Dame is like, hey man, this guy AJ Johnson can play, see similarities. I had him, I'm telling you, Anthony Simons is that type of talent. Good ball player, not a first round guy, but 35. One of those guys, G, that I told you before the draft.
Right.
Didn't have a was second rounder, but potential first round grade. Yeah. This is it.
So it appears that I've been saying all night I thought the Knicks were going to make a trade. It looks like they have. The 24th pick has been traded to, I believe, the Washington Wizards.
And the Wizards have their pick in at that spot. Now trading up to 24. They are taking Keyshawn George at number 24.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
So again, you're moving closer to one of those guys you had circled as potential pick at 22 being there at 28, and the Suns start to look like, hey, they might have made a really good move here.
They might have. And listen, I'm surprised George went this low. I thought he had lottery potential in some spots. This kid can really shoot the ball, and he's really young. And again, he's got to get in the weight room. He's got to get some of the athletic things put together because he's not as athletic. But you see the potential for him to be a guy that could come into the NBA and eventually be a Troy Murphy III, a guy like Cam that can really shoot it. He shows flashes of a guy that you can end up getting a real good steal here. So 24 is a good pick. Washington's not doing a bad job. You're talking about Alex Sarr. Who was the 14th pick? I can't recall, but I think they're having a good draft. Well,
they're making
Bub Carrington. Yeah, so Sarr, Carrington, and Keyshawn George. Not a bad draft for the Wizards. They're rebuilding. They got 3 solid players.
No, and you take swings when you're in
you
the
gotta take
position
swings, yes.
that they're in. So I like that the fact that they've been aggressive. I don't know that being aggressive in a draft that nobody felt had the highest of talent is maybe the best move, but we'll find out because the Washington Wizards are certainly going all in on that.
So this is interesting for the Knicks too, because we have details on the trade now. The Knicks are trading 24 to the Wizards for number 26 and number 51. So the Knicks added
they got 25 and 26.
They have 25 and 26.
What the hell?
So they're not done wheeling and dealing, I would imagine.
So here, what was the second round pick that they got? 51.
The Suns?
Yeah. No.
They got 51.
Oh,
boy.
Do you package two of those second round picks and 28 to go to get 51 and the one pick higher than you at there?
I might.
So then you're like, okay, now I'm in the Bronny sweepstakes if I want to be.
I mean, the Knicks just gave up a hell of a lot for Mikal. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to maybe get some of these assets back. Mm-hmm. They may be the Knicks might be like the Minnesota Vikings of the NFL draft. Vikings traded one pick 13 times in the draft. I mean, they kept trading back.
As long as they're not Atlanta and they don't draft Michael Penix.
Yeah, I got you. Listen, this is interesting, but I'm a little bit uncomfortable again because I thought the Knicks were out at 24, but now they just moved to 25, 26. Right. I wouldn't be shocked if they do this again. I don't know why, guys. Don't listen. I know we talked about this earlier. I just got a feeling about the Knicks and Tyler Collect. I do. I just feel like him being a Big East guy and a guy that's closer. I wouldn't be shocked if Collect ends up in New York, but I could be completely wrong.
I'm just gonna say it like this: this shit's gotten wild since the 20th pick. So why don't we recap where we are on this board? When you look at it, you've got. Freaking Jason Tyson went to Cleveland. They're a pick that nobody really expected. Yves Missy went to New Orleans at 21. Holmes went to the Denver Nuggets. Yes, they dealt with the Denver Nuggets at 22, the Suns pick. And then you've got A.J. Johnson, who went to the Bucks, and then Keyshawn George to the Wizards with that Knicks pick. So we still have back-to-back Knicks picks, correct?
Back-to-back, I think.
No, you got two.
25 and 26.
25 and 26.
The Wizards are now
Wizards
24.
Wizards got 24.
Wizards got 24.
Okay, so we get the Knicks again, 25, 24.
The Knicks are back-to-back now. I don't know. Collect to them would be interesting. But, again, it still feels like they may have a deal or two in them here. Right? I mean,
they could.
They got value, in moving back 2 slots on that, and now you got to wonder, do they do it again? Because like you said, they gave up a lot to get Mikal Bridges there in New York to complete the Nova Knicks. You got to wonder, and if you're the Suns, do you stay put at 28? Do you look at, is there a world where I can maybe move up a couple slots with the Knicks here and use some of that capital in the second round that I gained in trading back? You'd stay.
I stay. I wouldn't move up. I like the 3 second round picks. You're right. I think you're right where you want to be right now for the Suns. I do feel like the Knicks might be willing and dealing here. I don't want to give if you move up, what are you giving up?
Right, because both your first round pick and your second round pick are now after where the Knicks are slated, so it wouldn't make sense for them.
I'm staying right where we are.
Okay,
staying right where we are. But
I'm getting.
Who's the guy who do you want? Espo 28. What's on the board right now? Who can you live with?
Well, I'm a jinx usually, but I'm gonna say it.
Don't even say it.
I'm just gonna say it. You guys jinxed all the other stuff here. Ryan Dunn's the guy at 20. I can live with the shooting questions, especially now that you're at 28 and you gain some assets. I can deal with the questions there, right?
Yeah.
Because like we talked about earlier, you're not teaching that hustle. You're not teaching that athleticism.
That's right.
His defensive ability is off the charts. And in a team where you're top heavy offensively and hurting defensively, this is a guy that I think can really help you on that end. But I think his cutting ability can do some amazing things for this offense too under Budenholzer.
Agreed.
Plus, okay, maybe he didn't shoot well in college, but how do you shoot when you got wide open looks, right?
Yes.
I know people compare him to Josh Okogie, and I've seen it in the chat. Omar just said it himself. I don't see that. I see a guy with a lot more upside than Josh Okogie at this point in my mind. And a guy that I think could play serious rotational minutes for the Suns, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the guy that if he's on the board, I think you take. But I got to consider the point guards too.
Yeah, look, I mean, Dunn, I've heard this from and read this from a lot of draft evaluators that he is the best, or at least one of the best defensive prospects they've ever evaluated.
Yeah.
And you can see it. And the difference between Okogie and Dunn is that Dunn is a lot bigger.
6'7", dog,
right.
almost 6'8".
6'7" with a ridiculous wingspan. He makes plays from all over the court. And not that Josh doesn't, but Josh is more inclined towards the guard spot. It's the backcourt. Dunn can cover all 5 positions, so it's a little bit different. And what have we kept saying that the Suns need? Bigger, plus size, defensive-minded wings. That is Dunn. And I get it. There are a lot of questions about the offensive end. The shooting is non-existent at this point. The offense, he would pretty much be relegated to a screener, a roller, a dunker spot guy, a transition type of person. But he does finish well around the basket, so he does have that for him. But yeah, they would have to surround him with the right lineups to make him work, enough shooting to make sure that his lack of a shot didn't hurt them. And in playoff scenarios, he would have to prove that defenses have to respect him in some form. You can't have a guy that in a playoff setting, you're playing 5-on-4 every time down. But again, most rookies, that can be the case anyway. So
a lot of questions in the chat about Filipkowski. Why aren't they considering him? I want your honest evaluation here. Is this the one guy you don't like on the board?
Yeah, no, he's talented. He's a talented basketball player. Just to me, does not fill any of the real voids that the Suns have. I just don't see it. Not athletic enough. Not going to be able to move enough defensively. I don't see that dog in him. You know, no. Filipkowski is an absolute no for me. I'm not touching that. Can I get back to Josh Okogie though?
Yeah, sorry.
For a second.
Yeah.
Listen, I love Josh Okogie. I hope he opts in. Okay, we've said it during the season. Josh Okogie is a guy that does a lot more on the basketball court that goes unnoticed and untalked about, and terrific stuff. Okay, but when I hear someone say Ryan Dunn is Josh Okogie, it bothers me. Bothers the hell out of me. You know why? Because Devin Booker's 6'6". Okay, if Devin Booker was 6'2", he wouldn't be Devin Booker. 4 inches in the NBA makes a big difference. Ryan Dunn is almost 6'8" with a 7'1" wingspan. Josh Okogie's 6'4". They're different players. If Josh Okogie was 6'7.5" or 6'8", Josh Okogie would be a different guy. You know what I mean? So Ryan Dunn, to your point, is one of the better defensive guys I've seen in a long time. I sent you a clip the other night.
You did.
This guy intercepted a fucking lob pass.
It was insane.
He was at the 3-point line. They tried to throw a lob dunk to the opponent, and he went back there and casually intercepted it and went the other way. These are things you can't teach, and I think the shooting will come. I keep going back to Herb Jones. Herb at Alabama 4 years. The first 3 years did not shoot the 3 ball well. 4th year did better, and we see Herb shooting 40% from 3 now. I think Ryan can make it work. And also look at Virginia tape, man. Don't just look at highlights. Go back and watch Virginia's offense. Like, this is a defensive juggernaut in college basketball. They do not run a friendly offense. And so you got to take that in consideration, too. I love Ryan Dunn.
Yeah. Is there anybody else that we feel that we would like? Because, there's other names, Tyler Kel'el, Baylor Shireman, Isaiah Collier.
All those guys.
Kel'el, I talked about it the other day, and I know we've heard varying things on the Suns' degree of interest in Kel'el. But to me, this kid, like you said earlier, he's got that dog in him, right? When it comes to Kel'el. He's got the mindset. Seems like a kid that's going to come in and bust his ass for you. Not the sexiest pick, not the highest ceiling that you're going to have. If you want ceiling, it's probably Collier.
Yeah.
But Tyler Kel'el, I feel like, could come in and be that distributing guard that some people felt you so dearly missed last year, and be that guy off the bench day one. And that's what I like about him. Collier, more upside, but I don't know that you could say this. Do you feel comfortable having Collier be your backup point guard, come in and be that guy? No, but I feel like it with Tyler Kel'el.
We do have a pick in at number 25.
All right.
Gee, you
Who'd the New York
All right,
Knicks
no,
take?
We're good.
We're good?
New York is selecting Pacome Dadiet
Okay.
at number 25.
Ooh, I like it. Good prospect.
Dadiet.
Dadiet.
Good prospect.
Dadiet. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this was another guy that was like end of first round,
Yes.
beginning of second round on most mocks. It's not Ryan Dunn.
That's right.
So there's that.
That's right. That's right.
The more we move along in this, I'm starting to feel like James Jones, Josh Bartlestein, that entire front office kind of saw, like you were saying, down that line in this first round. I think they've seen it for a little while because we heard this was the move that they were going to make to move back. They're looking like they had a plan, they're executing on it, and they very well may walk away with a guy that a lot of people think can help.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Pacome Dadiet, he's a mystery guy. I had him, ironically, I had him 36 right behind AJ that just went.
AJ Johnson.
This is a guy that, when you look at the tape, it screams mystery. I tried to just, I just couldn't find, very intriguing guy. He can shoot the basketball. He's a good athlete, got a nice body. But I couldn't quite pin down what this guy really is at the next level.
He's raw.
Raw. There you go.
Is he potentially draft and
I say
stash?
mystery. He says raw, and I like G's word better.
What could he potentially be a draft and stash kind of guy?
Yes,
because that helps the Knicks, right? Because
that's right.
You know, it's the money that they're worried about right now. Could be a smart move from there, where you get a guy with high upside, but you don't have to carry the salary if it's a draft and stash.
100%
pick here.
100%. I mean, look. I mean, yeah. I mean. Again, France is winning today, dog.
It really is,
bro. France is winning, man. I mean, these guys, they're developing some hoopers out there, and again, when you watch this team, they're very raw, just very intriguing, man. But again, two guys that were not projected to be first round picks, all of a sudden pop up back to back. And now you see why the Suns are sitting down comfortably trading back 6 spots, because they probably got some intel and said, okay, we're going to have some wiggle room here.
Is the last 2 drafts France's apology for Rudy Gobert and his actions that we saw, his antics? I feel like they're like, we are so sorry. We will give you all our talent now.
Oh, man.
No, I mean, they're having a good draft, and they're developing some really good talent, man. I mean, good for them, man. Good for them. I'm happy. I love when I see this too. I mean, if you're not watching the draft, like this kid is sitting in the stands, not in the green room. You know, this is cool as hell for these kids. So happy for that. Is that actually going to stay? That's New York, right?
Yeah, that just sounds like
so.
There's
Yeah,
no
that
move
could be
there.
a draft and stash guy. And do they have 26?
So we've got the Knicks at 26, Minnesota at 27. And then the Suns. So we're 2 picks away here, and there's an opportunity for the Suns to get somebody that they'd really like here coming up. So let's take a look at the board again. We'll go from the 21st pick there. Yves Messi went 21st to New Orleans. Deron Holmes went to the Nuggets with the Suns' original pick, which the Suns traded for 28, 56, and 2 additional second-round picks in the future. Bucks surprise going A.J. Johnson. Keyshawn George goes to the Wizards at 24. They had traded with the Knicks. Pacome Dadiet goes to the Knicks at 25, and the Knicks are on the clock again at 26 right now.
How you feeling, G?
I'm feeling good. I think they're going to get probably a guy that they liked or that they wanted. Like, there are some still decent options on the board.
Can I ask another question?
Sure.
I want your honest opinion here. Mm-hmm. You get to 28. Ryan Dunn, Collect are still on the board. Do you think about trading back again?
If you can trade back 1 spot with Utah,
you can do 29 and 32, maybe. But I do think we should note this: the fact that like the Suns have 7 players under contract. We are expecting 2 of the guys with player options to opt in. That's 9. We would have 1 rookie. That's 10. Trying to re-sign Bol, like maybe another second-round rookie. Suddenly you're only left with 3 to 4 roster spots. Oh, Royce O'Neal, another one.
That's correct.
So as much as I would like a
space.
second rookie Do we want 2 rookies on a roster and only have like 2 to 3 spots in free agency? I don't know. That's something to think about.
What if
That's where the G League comes in handy, though.
Well, but you're still on the 15
yes.
man, right?
What if
What?
Well, I guess second, you're still on the 15 man roster though if you're drafted.
But
so.
what if it's a situation like we just did, not necessarily trading back to get an addition, but a future.
So maybe you go 29 and a future second. In that case, I would consider that because you got everybody. Oh, they have no future. Well, you can get assets if you move back one spot. If you got 2 guys you like, and the Jazz have somebody.
What if I told you? What if I told you they were confident they can get Ryan Dunn at 32?
No, I wouldn't.
Do you trade back to 32 and get future assets?
No, because I think at that point you're tempting fate way too much.
Okay,
right? You moved back to 28, and if you're sitting there with 2 guys you like, I do not take the chance that 32 a guy's still there.
I just like the fact that they got these extra picks. I like the fact that now in a potential not say a little deal, you have a little bit more, a little something more to maybe entice somebody.
Oh.
Okay,
Okay.
hold on.
All right.
Ooh.
We got a trade alert and a pick is in.
Ooh.
Okay, talk to me.
You can't fire them both off at the same time.
Yeah.
I can barely fire one off.
Wait, are we doing trade alert? All right, trade alert.
We'll do
trade alert.
So the Knicks are trading number 26 to the Thunder. And at number 26, the Thunder are selecting Dylan Jones.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is James Jones got that big brain thing going on right now? Like, did Josh Burrowstein and James Jones pull a heist? Because now you're looking at one of your guys is definitely going to be there.
Yeah, it's looking that way.
Dylan Jones was 46 on my board. Good defensive rebound and good wingspan. Field goal percentage, assist was really good. He needs to fix his 3-point shooting, but yeah, this guy was a second rounder on my board. Comp was Taylor Horton Tucker. Yeah, I mean, this is very surprising, and this happens all the time. And the Suns are looking like geniuses right now because I gotta think that they had somebody navigating this board, doing some background checks, and realizing that we're going to be able to get our guy at 28. This is very surprising. I'm feeling very good about Ryan Dunn at 28 right now, guys.
Can I pat my own back?
Go ahead.
I told you the Knicks were only taking 1 pick.
You're right.
Didn't care how many times I traded. It was only going to be 1 pick there. So
you're right.
Look, Sam Presti has his own way of looking at things.
This shit has me
right?
worried now, though.
What? Because Sam Presti did that?
Yeah, just because.
Dylan Jones just going to be amazing now?
He just might be.
But look, that's the beauty of what Presti did for them. He can take chances, right?
Yeah.
Because he's got so much draft capital, so much young talent that he can do that. So
Minnesota is up at 27?
You got Minnesota
is
and
the last.
Okay, now they got me worried because they just got Dillingham, right?
Mm-hmm.
They moved up and got
get a guard.
Dillingham.
Mm-hmm.
They like defense. Come on, G. If this shit happens, bro.
Hold on, but
The number 1 defense in the league taking Ryan Dunn would be
come
fucked
on,
up.
G, don't
But
do that.
It'd be unfair.
Is there a spot like they have so much talent and defensive talent? Is that the value pick? Is that the right thing for them to do, or is there a better way that they could go?
I mean, I listen, like G just said, man, the number 1 defense in the league, potentially adding the best defensive player in this draft. That shit is scary.
Could they trade down though too?
They could. Is Kyle Anderson a free agent? Am I right? Kyle Anderson is a
Slow-Mo's,
free agent.
yes.
Slow-Mo's a free agent. So they could be trying to replace some type of wing guy. Yeah, I'm a little worried here, guys. Correct me, G. I know you're our go-to guy with this. Point guard.
Yes.
I mean, isn't he a free agent as well?
Conley?
Conley, I don't think so.
I don't like this. Lindsey Smith is sitting right off the side, and all I heard was,
It's
holy shit.
Yeah, the Thunder traded 5 second-round picks
To get that pick?
to get Dylan Jones.
5 seconds
From the Knicks?
To be fair,
Shouldn't
they have 40 left.
348 of them.
Yeah, they just
they're
traded for
fine.
Alex Caruso
Are we really-
for no
are-
picks.
are we
So they're
really
like,
that
take 'em,
worried?
Damn.
Yeah, that is true. They did save on their pick potential with the Caruso trade and not having to give up a single one.
Right.
And
Thanks,
then watched
Chicago.
as
Damn, but you
McHale
gave
got
a
5.
for that. I don't know if
That's Jay Crowder value.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting.
Can I say
5.
something?
What?
ESPN just put Bronny James on the screen. Are they really trying to sell us on the idea that he's going anytime soon? No.
No, I hope not.
Oh, let's take a look at some super chats. I want to give you guys a
You
chance,
got me I'm a
chance to
little
breathe. Because if I see Gerald make one of those
I'm a little
faces
nervous.
again,
I have to.
I'm going
That's
to
how
freak
I-
out.
That's how I get your attention.
You got my attention. I hope people are screenshotting some of these too. Let's look at our friend Psycho Blue here. He says, like how every super chat that didn't get read yesterday still applies today. It's not more so thanks to this morning's silliness with BSPN. Joshua earlier asked, why the hell are you in Omaha? He says he's working there, so I hope you're enjoying it. Then you look at Bobby sent one about the 22nd pick. Sorry, we missed it. He said that they're going to take Filipkowski or Collier. Guess what? They could do it at 28 if they so choose. Both of them seem like they'll be there. Joshua talking about the trade there. Some guy named Justin says, appreciate the live coverage, gents. Of course, we're happy to be here for you. Psycho Blue Basketball Cthulhu doesn't have faith in these Wizards picks. If they are going to have another fire sale in 4 years, they did just bring in Weaver. All right. Trevor says, with the Kings taking Devin Carter, Davion Mitchell for little and one of those second-round picks could be viable.
Hey.
Wouldn't complain. Depends on what you do in the draft here, though. And Patrick says, thanks for always delivering the highest quality in the industry. PHNX team is incredible. Speedy reporting on the picks and great retro visuals.
Love that.
These two guys are doing the heavy lifting. I'm just making the dumb jokes tonight, but thank you for all of that. We've got about a minute and a half remaining on that Minnesota clock, and then the Suns are back on the clock.
Can you just do me a favor?
What's that?
Could you let me down easy if it's bad? Like hold my hand or something, man.
So that is the one thing that we should stress now before the Suns pick or who we, know who they pick is the fact that like we can give our best assertions of what we've seen from players so far in college, but half the time you see a lot of draft grades that come out on draft night as far as how a team did or how a certain pick looks. And 3 to 5 years from now, we could all look stupid as hell.
Yeah.
So we should bear that in mind. Not to totally discredit anything we're about to say when we make the pick.
Hold on.
But
Draft grades are like freaking Stephen A. Smith's opinions on the Phoenix Suns. Who gives a shit?
Right.
All right. Let's make that very clear.
We do have the pick in at number 27.
The pick is in for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Who is it?
Come on, G, don't
Terrence Shannon Jr.
Okay, I don't mind it. And I love that kid. Now, that's dangerous. Holy shit, man.
Okay.
Minnesota.
Okay. So
That's
now,
a good haul for them.
Okay, we're in a
Minnesota
great
got
spot.
better, but now you're sitting here and you got Dunn, you got Collect, you got Collier. All
It's
guys
done.
that have been talked about at 22. If you get done at 28,
Home
where
run.
people wanted him at 22, projected him that he may be the pick
Home
at
run.
22, that's great value. I think Collect even if you decide to go that route because you want to fill that backup point guard spot and you don't feel like you're going to die in the vet minimum market. I think that's great value as well.
Oh, man. Okay, so I'm a little torn here. I like both picks. If they were to get Collect or Dunn, I prefer Dunn. I think what Dunn brings is harder to get. I Collect size worries me a little bit, but I still think he's the best passer in the country. He's the best pure point guard in the country as far as his ability to pass the basketball. He can shoot the basketball. So I'm happy with either of these picks if they keep it and make this selection. But I can't believe if we walk out of here with Dunn at 28 and 3 second-round picks, man, I don't think you have a better night. I don't know if you can go better than that, guys.
I think.
Oh, shit, G. You scared me.
Is the pick in? All right.
With the 22nd pick in the 2024. Or 28, yes,
There.
that's right.
Come on, G.
Ryan Dunn.
Yeah!
We got him.
They got the guy we wanted. Hell yes.
Let's go, G. Give me some love,
That
dog.
is exactly what we had said earlier in the week that we thought that they wanted. They get the athletic wing that can play defense. that can also cut and is athletic. Look, I'm gonna read an expert analysis scouting report to you. An athlete who runs the floor and finishes with spectacular flair. He's a great transition player that has tremendous potential on the defensive end and can run with speed and stamina. Although he's an accomplished scorer, he's not a great shooter. He struggles with his range and consistency and has some difficulty hitting the pull-up jumper.
Okay.
Who is that?
That's a lot of guys.
That sounds like Ryan Dunn,
doesn't it?
That sounds exactly like Ryan Dunn.
Do you want to know who that was?
Who was it?
1999. It was Sean Marion. That was said about it. Sean Marion, and I'm not saying this guy's going to be Sean Marion, but the hope that you look at his 3-point shooting, you say, okay, Dunn struggled, couldn't do it. What, shot 30% overall in his 2 years, or 20,
22% over 2 years.
Excuse me. You look at Sean Marion, 29 at UNLV.
Yeah,
shot 18.2% his rookie year in the NBA.
Yeah,
I get that he may not be able to shoot now. That doesn't mean he can't develop it. And I still think that what he can do in this offense with his cutting ability is great. I think they got immense value at this pick. What were his strengths that you liked in this draft?
I'm giddy, man. I'm telling you, man, listen, again, 6'7.5", 7'1" wingspan, 214, a guy that can play on-ball defense, off-ball defense, will block shots, will help you on the offensive glass, the defensive glass. He's a great backdoor cutter. He will put pressure on the rim. He will attack the basket. He's got a good IQ. The floor with this kid is very simple. He's not a great 3-point shooter, and he shot 53% from the free throw line. I know that scares people, but I'm telling you, you could not find a better fit for this kid. If I was this kid's agent, I am so damn happy because I'm like, you're getting to go play with Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal, and Grayson Allen, and Royce O'Neal, and Damian Lee if he opts in, and God knows who else comes, and those guys will shoot the threes, and your ass will bring everything that this team is missing defensively, athletically, getting younger. G, I'm fucking giddy, G. Not Josh, Paul.
No, look, you look at this and you go, you checked off one of your big boxes for the offseason. Athletic wing that can play great defense. You got probably the best defender in this draft at 28 after you traded down, right? That's the crazy thing to me because I think guys would have been happy with him at 22.
Yes,
I think people would have been. Some people would have been thrilled. You get him at 28, you pick up 3 second-round picks. I think you accomplished everything that you could have hoped to on night one of the NBA draft.
Look, this kid could
look at
have
his emotion.
It's cool, and he could have multiple all-defensive selections in his future, just because, like we've said, he's a pterodactyl in terms of that 7'1" wingspan. The way he makes plays defensively from all over the court, he can blow up an offensive play from anywhere on the court in terms of at the pick and roll, at the rim, being a free safety and picking off passing lanes. He is incredible on the defensive side of the floor. There will be offensive concerns, the shooting concern, the lack of a handle or really much offense in general outside of right at the rim. But if you put the right amount of shooting around him, if you teach him how to be an elite screener, roller, finisher in transition, all of those things, he did shoot a really high percentage at the basket. So this is a really good pick in terms of addressing their need for defensive length, athleticism, all of that good stuff.
I mean, I am ecstatic. I am ecstatic. Listen, when you're I'm sorry, Espo, I didn't want to cut you off.
Good.
But when you're evaluating players and you're in the NBA draft, and especially when you're the Phoenix Suns with a late first round pick, the dream scenario is to come out the draft with a player that you can say, yo, this guy could be the best at something. Like Cam Johnson, when we made that pick, people said it was a reach. I remember saying, I think it was a reach, but this guy might be the best shooter in the draft, right? Man, we might have the best defensive player in this whole draft. And you got him at 28. And you also added 3 second-round picks to the mix. Man, what was it? What did you say, G? You made an interesting comment. You said that you read an evaluation that said this guy, Scout said he had one of the highest
I saw
defensive
from
grades.
multiple draft experts when I was doing my research on these different guys, because you look at different mocks and see where they have them going and how they evaluate different prospects. And multiple ones said this is, if not the best defensive prospect I've ever evaluated, one of the best. So, I mean, this is an elite defensive playmaker, and the Suns needed that. They needed someone. I know he's a rookie, so he's not going to come in maybe starting lineup and, alleviate that burden from Kevin Durant. But if you need a stop, you no longer have to turn to Kevin Durant and say, we need you to stop this guy, or an older Royce O'Neal and say, we need you to stop this guy. You have a guy who's going to come in, inject athleticism, inject length, and a high motor, high defensive instincts and skill set into your lineup wherever he winds up playing.
Do you think he gets on the floor with the offensive limitations? Do you think there is a defined role with this bench unit that this guy can play, or minutes with some of the starters that he can play? Is it possible? Because we obviously know that teams are not going to focus on him at all on the offensive side.
Right. The hard part is obviously that not that him and Josh Okogie are the same, but similar to Okogie, because of the lack of shooting at this point, he would be optimized if you had him with the starters. Just because if you look at the shooting of Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, that's obviously easier to space the floor. So you are going to have to, I envision him being a bench player in year one, obviously. You're going to have to surround that bench with enough shooting. Hopefully you find someone that can maybe move Grayson Allen to the bench, so you have a shooter in that respect who can help space the floor around him. A big who maybe can space the floor, because Ryan Dunn at this point, if you have him next to a rim rolling center who doesn't really have gravity, then that makes things complicated. So like I said, this is a very fit dependent pick, but I think the Suns have enough shoot. Like, they were a good shooting team last year. They just need to shoot more of them. And if you're playing in Mike Budenholzer's system, I imagine that they'll be able to do that. Yeah. Like, I think that's going to be the focus, is get up more threes. And in that environment, I think Dunn has a better chance.
You got Law and Order. Dun dun. I'm good.
I love it, man. And here's the thing too, guys. I agree, G. He's going to be a bench guy. I think his defense will allow him to have a chance to be a rotation guy when it all shakes out. But you're talking about a guy that my phone calls, my conversations, my evaluations, people were raving about how he was working out. And Espo, the shot concern in the workouts weren't as extreme as I've heard. Like, I heard that he shot the ball really well, G, in some of these workouts.
Same.
And so you see that mechanically it can be, he can make the shot, it can get better. Man, Espo, man.
He's pumped.
I am pumped, man, because we've been talking about this for now a couple weeks, right?
We'll pull back the curtain.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm going along with what you said. Monday night, or a couple nights ago, I was still leaning Kel'el, and you said, "No, listen to me. let me tell you why. If Dunn is on the board, Dunn's your guy." We were talking, probably 22 at this point, or potentially trading back. And you mapped it out in terms of showing some of those defensive plays at Virginia, showing the comps that people are talking about Herb Jones. Herb Jones and his struggles shooting early and in college, and then what he was able to do. What have people been saying that the Suns need? They need a Herb Jones. They need a Jaden McDaniels. They need that guy that can be disruptive defensively and do enough offensively. I think he can get there doing enough offensively, and we sure as hell know, based on what we've seen, that he can do it defensively. In the last 25 years at Virginia, only one player, Ryan Dunn, has had 50 blocks and 40 steals in a season. This kid can do it defensively.
And
we know that for
Virginia's
sure.
a defensive machine. They've always had been. So to have that type of stat, this is. I spoke to a scout and an agent this week, that immediately both of them, when I said, give me a guy in the NBA right now that this guy projects to be, and to my surprise, they didn't hesitate and said Herb Jones. And so I knew I was in, we knew I'm like, okay, you know, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, damn it, don't call it a dinosaur. They did their work, and then to get the 3 extra picks, I can't believe. I thought this was a guy that they were going to struggle to get at 22.
Right. So just as a precursor to that, because there's obviously concern about the shooting side of it, and I totally understand that. A couple of comparisons that did not shoot the ball well in college that are elite defenders in the NBA that have gotten better in that respect. OG Anunoby, he shot 31% in his last year as a sophomore from 3. Now he's a much better shooter. Ryan Dunn, obviously, his first year of college shot 31% and then 20% this past year. So very, not good, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
And he has to put in a lot of work on that. Another guy in that range, Herb Jones, like you were talking about, 27% as a freshman, 29% as a sophomore, 7% as a junior, and then jumped up to 35% as a senior. So it takes years. It's going to take some time for him to develop a 3-point shot. That is going to be a liability in his game. We're not downplaying that. But the defensive intangibles, upside, and tangibles, I think if he works at that, that is something that we have seen elite defenders get better at, to just be respectable. If he can do that, the Suns made an excellent pick. And even if he can't, you can still find ways to impact the game.
I want to also say somebody who struggled at the free throw line in college, who turned out to be one of the best 3-point shooters as a big man in the NBA, was Al Horford.
Yes.
Right. And so as time goes on, yes, free throw percentage might not be great. There's no saying that this guy can't develop. It's not a promise, but it's certainly possible.
How about Lou Dort?
Yeah.
Dude shot 39% from the field in year 1, 29% from deep. A little over.
He wasn't afraid to shoot that thing, though. He was letting it go.
Kawhi Leonard was a guy that in college couldn't shoot the 3-ball either. And we all know what Kawhi. I'm not saying this guy's Kawhi, but I'll give you 2 guys. You mentioned one, Shawn Marion, right? Shawn Marion, when I look at Shawn Marion's tape and I look at this kid, you see some flashes on the defensive and athletic side of things. And I'll take you back. If you want to go back, a blast from the past. If you're a person that enjoyed that 92-93 Phoenix Suns team, go look at my guy, Richard Dumas. Richard Dumas was very much a guy like Ryan Dunn that athletically and defensively did some unique things. So I'm just giving you a little bit of some Phoenix Suns flair for some guys in the past. We haven't had a guy like this in a while. Like Ryan Dunn we're not a defensive, like Mikal Bridges, right? We all love Mikal Bridges. Now Mikal's a better shooter. Let's not get that. But this guy gives me a little bit of hope that you have a Mikal Bridges-like player on the defensive end, that if he can fix his jump shot, you might have stumbled onto something.
Omar wanted to know about his motor.
Oh my God!
What's
great.
Ryan Dunn's motor?
Motor's great.
Ferrari.
Fantastic.
Ferrari motor.
Not a Tesla.
Yeah, not a Tesla. This guy doesn't stop. I mean, he doesn't give up on plays. I mean, he takes everything personal. And when I tell you, I think you're going to love him. Forget the shooting, offensively, the way he attacks the rim. I mean, you remember in the NBA Finals, the Cam Johnson dunk in the NBA Finals? I forget who it was against. He just bodied
PJ Tucker.
PJ Tucker.
Versus PJ Tucker, correct. Well, if you go look at Ryan Dunn and you look at some film, there's a play where he's running the lane full throttle, gets one bounce, takes one step inside the key, and absolutely fucking bodies this dude. And when I saw that, I immediately saw that Cam Johnson replay in my mind and I say that to say, not only are you getting an elite defender, but you're getting a guy that's going to bring elite finishing ability at the rim. He's just, man, I'm thrilled about this pick, G.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me. Thank you for riding with me on this one.
No,
I was really scared. 27.
No,
Yeah.
you were.
Really scared.
Look, you see a lot of people in the chat, and I understand the concerns, right? I mean, it makes sense that there's concerns about a guy that struggles shooting. I get it. I 100% get it. And I want to make it clear, we're not saying this guy is going to be Sean Marion.
No.
What we're saying is the fact that Sean Marion also had some questions in terms of his shooting coming into this league, and he corrected it, and we saw where he was able to go with that, right? So I just think the immense talent in terms of what he does defensively is athleticism. You can't overlook that. The dude got selected at 28th, right?
Yeah.
Like somebody said, oh, I'm getting Josh Jackson vibes from you guys all over again.
28.
That was pick number 4, right? And there were questions about his motor. It doesn't seem like we've got those kind of questions with Ryan Dunn. Okay, so the first round has come to an end. I want to catch everybody up with the picks. So Ryan Dunn was the Suns' pick, obviously, at 28. Isaiah Collier, one of the point guards we had talked about out of USC, went 29. A good value there. And then Baylor Shireman went 30th to the Celtics. Flex, you like Shireman a lot. Is this one that makes you a little worried here?
Yeah, it tugs my heart a little bit. My man Shane, we were talking earlier, that was a guy I would have loved the Suns to get their hands on. If they were able to trade back, like Gerald was saying, to maybe 29 and 32, I would have loved to come away with a Ryan Dunn and Shireman. The rich get richer. The Celtics got a really good player. This guy reminds me of Joe Ingles all over again. He can really shoot the basketball, and we know the Celtics can shoot the basketball. And they love putting up them threes, so this guy's going to fit right in. And he deserved to be a first-round pick. I love him out of Creighton. So
that was a great pick for them because he is a guy that can come in right away, and the shooting can contribute. So it sucks for the rest of the league that they got a rookie who can probably come in off their bench potentially and play a role.
Eric, if you don't mind, can you put a poll in the chat? I want to see how fans, if they like the pick, if they don't, because I'm seeing a lot of mixed emotions in there. One thing I'm not having mixed emotions about is getting our friend Ryan Dunn in the Circle K Inner Circle.
There you go.
Right? We got to hook him up because you know what? What he's going to learn, this ain't Virginia. The summers are freaking hot here. Yeah. We know it. And he's going to need something to drink. Yeah. And our friends at Circle K will take care of him, because they got Frosters and Polar Pops for 79 cents. But if you sign up for the Inner Circle, which is totally free, you know what you're going to get?
What?
You can get those for 69 cents.
Nah.
There we go. My man Flex picking up. But that's not all. You're going to get 25 cents off your first 5 fill-ups at Circle K on your gas. After that, you're going to save 3 cents per gallon. And then you can get to the Espo level. You can get that 5 cents off when you spend your money there. So you know what? Get there. Take care of your thirst. Take care of your hunger, because they got great food. I actually might get my dinner there on the way home, because you know what? I just realized I didn't eat lunch. I didn't eat dinner. And it's 8:30 at night here in Phoenix. I might stop at our friends at Circle K. So join the Inner Circle today for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. And our friends at Desert Financial Credit Union, the sponsor of our transaction of the day. I'm going to kind of recap what happened here. Suns traded down from 22 to 28 with the Nuggets. They also picked up the 56th pick in this second round, picked up 2 more second-round picks. The Suns wound up taking Ryan Dunn. So that is your transaction of the day, but that's not all our friends at Desert Financial Credit Union can help you with. They've been in the Valley for 84 years. Long freaking time. And you know what they know? How to be a fantastic financial institution and help this community, whether you're trying to start a business and you need a loan for that. If you're looking for a home, which our friend Ryan Dunn's going to be looking for a home here shortly, they got mortgages that they'll take care of you with, or they've got investment options if you're just looking to build a brighter future for yourself, like the Suns tried to do tonight in the draft. The Desert Financial team are financial experts who are committed to their members in the community, offering financial solutions tailored to help real people achieve their financial goals and dreams. When you open a free checking account online, get $200 in bonuses. Get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200. So guys, looking at all of this, let's kind of recap how we feel. You walk away with 3 second-round picks. You get Ryan Dunn at 28. If I told you this going into tonight, how would you have felt knowing that that's what the Suns were able to accomplish?
Not surprised, but very comfortable and good with that. Like,
Yeah.
I think we had been talking about the likelihood of them trading down to acquire more picks. The fact that they were able to add not just an extra second round pick, but 3, that's good value for them. And we'll see what happens tomorrow with them being at 56. But I like the fact that they were able to get 2 future seconds, because like we've been saying, when you're looking at trade scenarios, you don't necessarily want to go all in with your last first round pick that you can trade through 2031. You want to save that for a good deal. If you have a couple of seconds you can throw on the pile, that changes things. That mitigates the balance between just a player and going too far with a player and a valuable pick. So I'm glad that they were able to do that, and now they have 2 mini sweeteners that they can throw in a potential trade moving forward.
Yeah, listen, I can't say it enough. I'm so excited. I thought Ryan Dunn was a guy I would absolutely take at 22. I wanna just give some love to y'all, to everybody, man, because people don't understand that there's a lot of work that comes into this. And my man G yesterday made it very clear, the Suns can trade back. And what do? They trade back.
He said that they likely were. He called that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
G was the first one. He said they're likely going to trade back. And what do? They trade back.
Let me give you your flowers. You've been saying Ryan Dunn for well over a week now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think tonight could not have worked out better. If you would have told me at this time last week, hey Flex, we're gonna end up with Ryan Dunn and 3 extra second round picks, and we're gonna get him at 28. I'd have been like, Espo, you are on some serious drugs.
and pass him around, because I want in on that.
Yeah, I just didn't see it. And so to get him at 28, still get your guy, potentially best defensive player in the draft, 3 extra picks for ammunition. Now we have something to look forward to tomorrow. We're in day 2. You got 56. Is there a possibility, G, that 56 and maybe a second gets you to move up a little bit?
Maybe. I truthfully don't. It depends on who's on the board, who's high on their board. I don't know. I struggle with that.
Okay. I'm going to tell you a guy. There are some intriguing guys, and one guy in particular, Tyler Smith. We talked about it. I love that kid. I think he's going to be one of the first few guys taken off the board tomorrow. I don't think the Suns have the ammunition to get that high, but we'll have a whole list of guys in the boards, but there's still some good prospects out there. There's still some good players, and if you learn anything from last year with Tamani Kamara in the 50s, you should be excited about 56 tomorrow. And then again, to add to the drama, man, 55 Lakers, 56 Suns, the only 2 teams Bronny worked out with. Who's going to call whose bluff? How's that going to work out? I love it.
Aren't the Celtics right around there too? How hilarious would it be?
They're at 54 or
if they took Bronny just to kind of give the finger to the Lakers and hold them hostage?
Really funny.
I want to take a look at some of our super chats before we wrap up tonight. Couple more of them. Vincent. I'll get to Saul. I want to wrap up with Saul, and that's not this. I actually appreciate what he said. Vincent says, great pick, great trade to get extra picks. I agree. It appears that the other seconds are the 2026
and
second and 2031.
Yes.
So now,
what is it again?
now you're
what is it again?
2026 and 2031.
So now you're fully stocked for 2031. Those of you worried about the future. And then our man, Saul Bookman, from the deck of a freaking boat. I gave him a hard time about what he was wearing today, but the man trying to pull it off, and I think he did for where he was, right?
Right.
Works on the cruise ship. Says, love you guys. Great work tonight, and we appreciate it from our man, Saul, out there. Flex, you talked about it. There's going to be a lot of talent on this board tomorrow. Some opportunities that may arise. We will be here starting at 1 for our second round coverage with the Suns picking at 56. Flex will have a whole new big board for you guys to look for. So Gerald will have all the insight information that you could want. I will be here making stupid jokes.
Mm-hmm.
You guys brought the
Great
info.
job, Espo.
I survived the Lindsey Smith cough that apparently comes with this chair.
You did.
The
And you
se-
did a great job because
No.
it's difficult to keep the ship afloat while there's all this craziness going on and while I'm,
Yeah. Making
eyeballs
weird
deep in my-
faces.
I was a little nervous
Gasping.
today, guys.
Yeah.
I was a little nervous today. This is the first time me doing something like this with y'all. The production is way different than what we normally do. We got Lindsay in the background thugging it out for us, helping us with all the
staring at
backside
us, saying
stuff.
things.
You
yeah.
got my man's Easy E back there doing his
White
thing.
noise.
Yeah,
I
you
won
know,
say the other one.
Gerald,
Oh yeah,
you were
no, he put in
terrific.
a lot of work to prepare.
yeah,
all
put
the
in a
elements
lot
for
of
this.
work.
Let's
man.
give him all the credit in the world. This is his first draft here too. He dealt with a lot, including crap from me, and he came through in the clutch
Yes.
tonight, throughout the night. And he did put the poll in that I asked, and he said, "How would you grade the Dunn pick?" Over 340 people voted in this. The options were A, B, C, D, or lower.
Oh man, I'm intrigued.
Okay.
here.
A, 49%.
Nice.
B, 35%.
Okay.
C, 10%. And only 6%, the loud minority in this, saying D or lower.
I like it.
So Suns fans seem pretty happy with what they were able to do here on night one of the draft. Tomorrow starts at 1 p.m. Arizona time. We will be here. God, I hope that there are not any other crazy morning rumors for any of this, and that we're just dealing with what the Suns might be able to do in the second round. Final thoughts, guys, on the first round of the 2024 NBA draft.
Really fun night. I think the Suns got exactly what they needed. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. You were fantastic, my friend. Thank you so much. This was terrific. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Let's get it, guys.
I love it. Had a blast.
I'm just looking forward to Summer League. Let me see Ryan Dunn
Yeah.
in that purple and orange.
baby.
Let's watch some basketball. Final super chat of the night. Michael Ramirez says, thoughts on Juan Nunez. I like his film flex. Any thoughts initially here?
Interesting prospect. I mean, listen, there's a lot of talent in the second round. He's not as high on my board. You're going to see that tomorrow. But again, I think there's about 10 guys that still are available in the second round that could have got first round grades. So looking forward to getting into it. So
for Flex from Jersey, you can follow him at Flex from Jersey. For Gerald Bourguet, at Gerald Bourguet. You can follow the show at PHNX_. Suns, you can follow me at Espo. Big shout out to Lindsay and Michaela in the background handling the socials tonight. And remember, sometimes the best offense is a damn good defense. Ahoy, hoy.
Silly like the mayor.
That's good.
Great fucking job.
Good work.
Great fucking job, dog.